Today, in Gotham, it's time to choose your side, because either you're with us or against us. Those bombers from the Bronx, Tino, Paulie, Derek, and Daryl are looking to bridge their turf across that tri-borough. But the Pizza Man, Ole, Fonzie, and Johnny Franco are here to let them know they're on the wrong side of town. It's the Yanks and the Mets in a cross-city clash. Pure urban warfare, otherwise known as the scrapple in the apple.
New York is where I'd rather stay.
Forget spreading that news, because in this town, it's either New York or baby, it's New York. Hallelujah. Interleague play lands in rock and roll USA, while Bagwell and his Spros are on the go-go-go. The Indians will steal, rob, and attack to achieve their goal.
Hey, Joe. Take a walk on the wild side.
Today, we walk on a wild side, called the one and only Fox Saturday Baseball.
Well, there's the Hall of Famer Yogi Berra, the three-time AL MVP as a Yankee and manager of both New York teams in the World Series. He threw out the Subway Series first pitch. Mel Rojas' first pitch left the yard, courtesy of Paul O'Neill's bat, a three-run homer. The decisive blow in Game 1 in the Battle of the Bronx. Yankees win it 8-4. If you want to see the Subway Series, be prepared to pay $600 a ticket. The Big Apple is buzzing for round 2 of the Yankees and the New York Mets. Yes, indeed, New York, New York. The Yankees and Mets played up to and lived up to those lofty Broadway expectations. Round 2 continues today. Hi again, everybody. I'm Chip Carey, joined, of course, by Mr. New York himself, Steve Psycho Lyons. And I'll tell you what, the Big Apple is ready for the Mets and Yankees again.
You know, this is why interleague play was dreamed up in the first place, so these two teams could go at it. You talk about the great rivalries down through time. You talk about the Cards, Cubs, maybe the Yankees, Red Sox. This is what we're all waiting for, and it's living up to everything.
Yeah, it's been a big story. The other big story, of course, the home run ball. Mighty Mark McGwire and slamming Sammy Sosa have dominated the news with the long ball, but last night, neither man went yard, but the AL's Maris Chaser did. Yes, his name, Ken Griffey Jr. He hit his 31st home run of the year. Oh, what a great swing he's got. Number 31 down at the Bank One ballpark in Arizona. That's the good news for Seattle. The bad news is Jr. made a great catch and right there strained his hamstring. He's listed as day-to-day, and even worse, the Mariners bullpen gave it up again and lost the game 13-8. Now another slugger, Steve, who's battled injuries his entire career, is Juan Gonzalez. He's healthy and putting a hurting on opposing pitchers. An unbelievable year. 24 home runs now, 96 batted in only 79 games. Gonzalez, a legitimate MVP candidate, chasing Hack Wilson's record of 190 RBIs on the year. And on the topic of home runs, the Cap Cure Home Run Challenge concluded Thursday night. Cap Cure raised $6.35 million for prostate cancer research, with $50,000 donated for each of the 127 homers hit from last Saturday through Thursday. Steve, how about Sammy Sosa? Is this guy unbelievable? You played with him with the White Sox. What's the difference now between Sosa?
Hey, forget about me playing with him. You get to see him every day. The difference is he's much more selective at the plate. He'll take a walk now. He didn't used to do that. We all know he's a streaky hitter, but this streak of home runs lasting over a month now is unbelievable. He's carrying that team, although they're not winning too many games.
Yeah, forget Roger Maris. 19 home runs by Sosa breaks Rudy York's record. Hit in 1937. He had 18 home runs in the month of June for the Tigers. Time to get you caught up on possible comings and goings now from the big leagues in our installment of the Fox Insider. The desperate for pitching St. Louis Cardinals have let it be known that outfielder Brian Jordan and second baseman Delino DeShields are available. While the Mets and Giants have their eye on Jordan, the National League's leading hitter, the Mariners have interest in DeShields. Now the question is, will that be Woody Woodward's last trade as the Mariners general manager? Word has it that Woodward has sold his Seattle home and is having a retirement home built in Florida. He's anticipating a parting with the Seattle Ball Club. A possible replacement for Woody Woodward could be Baltimore general manager Pat Gillick. Sources say the well-respected Gillick is in his last months as the Birds general manager, probably due to Gillick's rocky relationship with owner Peter Angelos. Now, as we talked about at the top of the show, the crown jewel of interleague play is the Yankees-Mets matchup at Shea. Just a few moments ago, Susie Colbert had a chat with the two skippers in the Big Apple.
Subway Series round 2, and while the major players are trying to downplay the significance, the hype train is running at full steam. The fans here last night were hanging on every pitch. Managers Joe Torre and Bobby Valentine are set for Game 2. Bobby, the city championship, is that a matter of pride, given that, at least on paper, the Yanks are the best team in baseball?
Well, they are more than that. They played the best on the field. And, you know, what we're going to try to do is win the next two so that we could say we had a good series against them.
George Steinbrenner insists that the city championship is no big deal, that it's the world championship. But you can't deny your tie, as Darryl Strawberry played here, David Cohn, and you managed here. How do you at least squelch those emotions during these games?
Well, you have to approach it like any other game. I know it sounds trite, but you have to do it. But I think it's a great event for the fans. I mean, the fans last night taunting each other. That's what it's all about. This city is probably the greatest sports town in the country, maybe the world. And the energy level was spectacular. Sure, we like to win. There's no question. Not that we're going to brag about it, because there's a long way to go. And I'm sure Bobby can tell you they're only 4 games back on the loss side in that Eastern Division. That's more important. That has to take a front seat to what's going on here.
We got a little more time. But, guys, you both have to agree that given the excitement surrounding the series, whoever comes out on top, New York wins. Chip, back to you.
Okay, Susie, thanks a lot. The other big matchup, the AL Central Indians and the NL Central Astros. Most people will see the Yankees and the Mets, but the other series should be a lot of fun from Jacobs Field in Cleveland, Ohio. Now, the players say these are just another series, but I don't believe that, Steve. In fact, we had to send you up to New York, our own Cape Crusader, just to see how big this series is in Gotham.
Well, you know I love New York because the town is out of control, but when the Yankees and the Mets get going, forget about it. Oh, yeah, you know I'm in town. It's New York baseball. It's Subway Series baseball. The Mets and the Yankees. And you know what? When they get together, you're not on the fence because you're either a Yankee fan or you're a Met fan, and you're not both. You can feel the excitement in town. I'm going to go find out what it's all about. Yankee fan or Met fan?
Come on, Pat, let's go.
Come on, I got to see you. Look at the iceberg! Watch out for the iceberg! Jeez! Come on, Mets or Yankees, Murph? What do you say?
Or the Mets, Steve. Yankees.
We have more parties. We're the Mets.
I'm a Yankee fan, but I also root for the Mets in the National League. But in a series like this, I have to go with my team for 51 years, the Yankees.
Are you a Yankee fan? Are you a Mets fan? I'm both. You can't be both.
Anyway, we're New Yorkers. We love each other despite the fact that this guy's a dopey Yankee fan and I'm a dopey Met fan. Exactly.
When the Mets play the Yankees, it's like Festivus in June!
I want to feel the love of the Big Apple. Times Square. We're the first people in the history of the world to play catch in Times Square. You know that. Yeah, that's a sweet shirt, isn't it? That's a good shirt. You got your Yankee shirt on, your hat, you're headed to the stadium, and when you do that, you feel like you're the king of the world!
This series coming up with the Mets, how big is it for this town?
It's huge for the town. I mean, last year we faced them, and we lost the first game. I couldn't go outside of my apartment. If we would have lost this series, I would have had to move.
Nice hat.
Digging that?
Are you?
I wouldn't be caught wearing it in this city.
I'm a Yankee now, but once upon a time, I used to be a Met.
How in the hell can you play both for the Mets and the Yankees? Can't you find a team out of town?
Who owns the Yankees?
George Steinbrenner.
Who owns the Mets? Time's up.
Anybody wants to say that this has great meaning, it has very little meaning to me. Getting where I want to go at the end of the season is the goal, Steve.
When we asked Steinbrenner, he said that the Subway Series doesn't mean that much to him. He just wants to win the World Series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go with that.
Yeah.
The Yankees got a good shortstop for me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Bucky Dent? Yeah, he's pretty good. What about Nettles over at third?
He's all right, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those guys can get it done. Hey, check out the Met Club. Wonder if the boys are eating. Excuse me. Did you see Bobby Valentine eating in there?
No, I didn't see.
Meet the Mets, greet the Mets. Come on down and meet the Mets.
Who's the best looking Met player?
You.
Me?
You.
I don't play for the Mets.
Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter plays for the Yankees.
Guaranteed to have the time of your life because the Mets are really sucking that ball, hitting those home runs over their wall.
I got a present for Mr. Met.
Meet the the M-E-T-S Mets, the New York Mets. Now, you know I'm a Met fan if I know that song.
Oh, that is outstanding. Beat the Mets, sweep the Mets, step right up and kill the Mets. Sorry. Wow. Bad temper. It's up to you, New York. New York. New York, baby. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. Now, Al Leiter's going on the DL, but I swear he didn't hurt himself. Did not have the knee problem by breaking my guitar.
Yeah, George Steinbrenner, lighten up, Francis. And by the way, did you make that license plate?
Well, you know, in my former life, psycho, you know.
I like it. Now you know what it's like to watch Fox Sports, but how about playing Fox Sports?
Fox Sports Soccer 99. It's easier on your home than the real thing.
Big Apple is baseball's biggest bragging rights are on the line. Next, it's the Yankees and the New York Mets. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver standing by with the call for the scrapple in the Big Apple.
First, behind the bag, it gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Again, the 2-2 Lyrics. In the air to left field. Back at the track at the wall, we are tied. Welcome to Shea Stadium, the home of the New York Mets, in this afternoon, the site of Game 2 of this Interleague Series, the Subway Series, the New York Yankees and the New York Mets. Fans have been piling into this stadium, thinking back to years gone by where baseball ruled the city of New York, and your family, your neighborhood was defined by which team you rooted for. And welcome to the ballpark, everyone. I'm Joe Buck, so happy to have you with us on a Saturday afternoon here on Fox. You can say a million things about the Yankees, the hottest team in baseball, the best team in baseball. They get great pitching, they get timely hitting throughout their lineup, and they've been rolling under manager Joe Torre. You can say a lot of the same things about the New York Mets, not to the same degree, but they have very good pitching, and they've played well under manager Bobby Valentine. But as I welcome in my partner, Tim McCarver, Tim, when the folks got together at baseball and dreamed up interleague play, it's this kind of a series they had in mind.
When these two teams, as a matter of fact, Joe, met last year, I didn't think any series during the season could be as exciting. Well, this year, they have surpassed that as far as excitement is concerned. Mike Piazza, who played in Hollywood, says it's been overwhelming. Paul O'Neill says there's nothing like playing to a full house in New York City. So if they're pumped, you ought to be pumped too.
And we'll bring you the best seat in the house. One thing's for certain, the star of this series, the city of New York. We're glad to have you with us on a Saturday afternoon. The first pitch comes up next after this from your local Fox station. The crazies are out this afternoon. Woo. Look at that thing.
Oh.
That guy's pumped up, ready for this series, and we're glad you're with us on Fox. That's a little odd. The Mets are ready to take the field, and here we go at Shea Stadium, Game 2 of this 3-game series, the Subway Series. Jerry Seinfeld throughout the first pitch before this afternoon's game as he made his way in from the bullpen. This guy's been busier since he hung it up.
He mandated the honorarium.
Yeah, right. Little sidearm delivery to Mike Piazza. That officially kicks off this Saturday afternoon game here at Shea Stadium. Jerry Seinfeld's a regular here at this ballpark, and a regular in the rotation for the New York Mets is right-hander Bobby Jones. We'll give you a look at the MCI starting lineup for the New York Yankees. Chuck Knobloch leads it off at second base with Derek Jeter batting second and short. Paul O'Neill in right field. He was the hero here last night. He homered
And how about that swing against Mel Rojas to get the game in the favor of the Yankees, a lead they would not relinquish the rest of the night. Darryl Strawberry, you know his history here at Shea Stadium. We'll detail it during this afternoon's telecast. Tino Martinez at first base, Jorge Posada catching, Chad Curtis in center field, filling in for the injured Bernie Williams, Scott Brocious at third base, and Andy Pettit is pitching and batting ninth. The defense for the New York Mets behind right-hander Bobby Jones. They have the fewest errors in the National League, and on that left side of the infield, as good as you want to get. Alfonso at third, and Ordonez, who has been a vacuum at short behind Bobby Jones. And here's the right-hander. He is a 6-game winner, 28-year-old Bobby Jones.
Bobby relying more on finesse than power. He is not a hard thrower. 89 and a third innings of work, 39 earned runs. He has not given up an unearned run this year. That speaks volumes for the Mets defense behind Jones. Big overhand curveball, and he tries to establish his fastball inside early, and I'm sure he will continue that against Yankee hitters today.
A lot of people believe that last night with Leiter on the mound, it was the Mets' best chance to win one of the games of this 3-game series. Jones is going to be tested here this afternoon, and here's the scouting report on Bobby.
Big looping curveball. It's less effective from the stretch, and as we said, will establish inside early. And the Mets not only lost the game last night, but lost Al Leiter too.
So Bobby Jones ready to go. He will deal with Knobloch, Jeter, and O'Neill. This is game 2 of this 3-game series. Last night the Yankees won it 8-4 as the Mets squandered 3 different leads. Here comes pitch number 1 to Knobloch. Over the outside corner, strike 1. 2 out of 3 last night for Knobloch. He drove home a couple of runs. Hitting just .271, but he's getting on base and doing what he has to do at the top of this Yankee lineup. Something off speed and drilled foul down the left field line for strike 2. This broadcast is also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television.
Talking about Al Leiter, he was put on the disabled list this morning by the New York Mets. He will miss at a minimum 4 to 6 weeks with a torn patella tendon on his left knee. That's the area right behind the kneecap.
Jones missing the outside corner. A look at Bobby Valentine, who, like him or not, has done a terrific job as manager here with the New York Mets.
Did a terrific job last year leading the Mets to 88 wins, and this year 9 games over 500.
A ball and 2 strikes on Knobloch. 2-2. 48 walks for Knobloch. He's been doing his job and getting on base in front of Jeter. Joe Torre's club really struggled when Jeter was on the disabled list. Number 2 spot hit only 180. They're back to full strength, at least there. There's that big looping breaking ball. And the count 2-2 still. Here's that play last night when the Mets lost Al Leiter.
Situation where a good pitch by Leiter not only cost him an infield hit by Derek Jeter, but at least 4 to 6 weeks on the disabled list as he left in the 7th inning before the O'Neill home run.
Knobloch hanging tough. Still 2-2 from Bobby Jones.
That's a tough thing about Knobloch and Jeter in pitching to them. With 2 strikes, they foul off more good pitches. Similar in that regard.
That's foul.
They are 2-strike pests. Both of them. You've heard of good 2-strike hitters. These guys foul off more pitchers and just wear a pitcher down.
Last night on the other side, Edgardo Alfonso really worked Hideki Irabu in the bottom of the 1st inning, and that led to a bases loaded, nobody out situation, but Olrud bounced into a double play. The Mets missed a golden opportunity to establish something early. They got only 1 run, and they lost it eventually 8-4. Still 2-2 on Knobloch. This is vintage Chuck Knobloch working it from 0-2 to 3-2. But Jones has had to work for out number 1. Ordonez, 1-away.
Batting second, number 2, shortstop Derek Jeter.
That'll bring in Derek Jeter, who draws one of the biggest reactions here at Shea Stadium. One of the bright, young, up-and-coming stars in baseball, and he really already has arrived. And you see a lot of that.
Turning only 24 last night. Not her, him.
He's the heartthrob here in New York. 1 out, nobody on, and strike 1 from Jones. A belated happy birthday card for Derek. Sitting .314. He's hit 5 triples this season. He's hit 9 home runs. That caught the corner, 0-2. Home plate umpire this afternoon is Charlie Williams. Frank Pulley is at first, Bruce Dreckman at second, and Greg Gibson is filling in for Ed Rapuano, who we understand lost his grandmother during the night, and we send our best wishes to the Rapuano family. The 0-2 to Jeter. Jones can fall into that category of a nibbler. He gets out in front 0-2, and at least in the first 2 hitters, he tried to hit that outside corner, tried to make the perfect pitch.
0-2 is the time you want to nibble. Times to nibble, times to challenge.
And now it's 2-2. Got to look at this big crowd here. Last night they drew 53,404 for game 1 of this 3-game series. Largest crowd they've had here at Shea since the beginning of August of 1975, and they're still coming. 2-2 to Jeter. Another one for Ordonez. Soft hands, 2 out. That'll bring in Paul O'Neill. We've already mentioned he was the hero last night. First pitch from Mel Rojas, gone into left center field. A 3-run shot. The Mets had been leading 4-3. They trailed 6-4 and lost 8-4. And O'Neill is a .376 career average while hitting here at Shea. Of course, he spent years with the Cincinnati Reds. Back to Jones. Plenty of time. 3 ground ball outs. And the Yankees go in order. Bottom of the first inning, including Mike Piazza. Yankees and Mets, game 2, no score. New York's finest. I would say they're well prepared for any skirmishes that may erupt here at the stadium today. Here's the MCI starting lineup for the New York Mets. Edgardo Alfonzo leads off at third. Bernard Gilkey has been struggling lately, batting second and left. Mike Piazza is hitting third, the catcher. In 27 games with the Mets, he's hit 4 and hitting .364. Olerud cleans up at first. Husky in right. Carlos Baerga at second. Ryan McRae in center. Ray Ordonez is the shortstop, and pitching and batting ninth is the right-hander Bobby Jones. A look at the Yankee defense. It, too, is a very good defense. Tino Martinez is back at first base after sitting out initially last night. Posada started at first. He's starting behind the plate this afternoon. And a look at the 26-year-old Texan, the left-hander, Andy Pettitte.
Like Al Leiter for the Mets last night, Andy Pettitte relies on a cut fastball. 8-5 on the year. An earned run average around 4. He struggled back in May, but his last 4 outings have been very strong. Good changeup also to right-handed batter.
Alfonzo is that, and he takes a strike. Edgardo Alfonzo is not a typical leadoff hitter. The New York Mets do not have one. Alfonso's stolen only 3 bases. He's not a speed guy. He's hitting .272 for the year, and he takes ball 1.
Alfonso's best spot in the order is as a number 2 hitter. Matter of fact, the Mets probably have more number 2 type hitters. John Olerud could hit second. Brian McRae could hit second. Carlos Baerga could hit second. But you're right, Joe, no leadoff guys.
Alfonso trying to go the other way. Strike 2. You know, it should be pointed out, and I guess we'll point it out early. Doesn't get talked about a lot. You hear a lot of the periphery subjects about the situation. But boy, do these Mets miss Todd Hundley in their lineup. Yes, they have Piazza. Yes, they've added to their offense. But he is one of the biggest threats that you could take out of any lineup, and the Mets miss him. He'll be back after the All-Star break. 2-2 on Alfonso. He probably would be, even with Piazza in the lineup, the biggest threat that the Mets could send up as far as home run hitters.
Against right-handed pitching. Not against left-handers, but against right-handed pitching.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Alfonso with Gilkey next. The other way and foul. Alfonso worked his way on last night in the first inning. And he's 2-2 here facing Pettit. Missing inside, 3-2.
Talked about how Chuck Knobloch and Derek Jeter can work a pitcher. As you said, facing 10 pitches last night from Hideki Irabu, and then finally drawing the walk. 7 pitches in this at bat.
Off the plate to the left side, Brocious. High hop, low throw, 1 away. Joining us for this afternoon's telecast, Susie Colbert. Let's take it to her. Susie?
Well, I was looking for the quintessential mixed marriage, you know, Met-Yank. I found one better. Tim from West Nyack is a Yankee fan. His mother-in-law is a diehard Met. I guess Yankee was the dominant gene?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yankees #1. We have our 4 Yankee fans with us here.
The Mets are the king of Queens, and the Yankees belong in New Jersey. Yes, let's go Mets.
Tim, not exactly the way to get on her good side. Joe, back to you.
All right, Susie. I guess that's a dysfunctional family ready for Springer. I mean, that's some stress with your mother-in-law.
You don't mean Russ Springer or Dennis Springer?
No. 1 out, nobody on for Gilkey in the 0-1. Ball and a strike from Pettit. How about that? The whole family Yankee fans, and the mother-in-law is a Met fan. See a lot of that in this ballpark. See a lot of signs and families split up with their loyalties between these 2 clubs. 1 ball, 1 strike. The pitch up and away. I said it in the opening, and it's worth repeating. At one point, obviously before the 2 clubs left to go out to the West Coast, there you go. Friends or brothers, or maybe neither, in the seats here at Shea Stadium. 2 balls and a strike. Gilkey took ball 3. You know, at a time when baseball ruled this city, your family, your neighborhood was defined by who you rooted for, whether it was the Dodgers, the Giants, or the Yankees. Piazza on deck is Gilkey. Waits for a 3-1 pitch and draws a 1-out walk.
As George Carlin would say, why do they call it a civil war? It's anything but. Same in New York City. Let's look at the scouting report of Andy Pettit. We talked about that cutter, and one of the problems that Andy could fall into is using that cutter a little bit too much. He has improved his curveball. He doesn't have the command of last year overall this year, but as we said, his last 4 outings have been superb.
He's also got a terrific pickoff move, as Gilkey, one of the few guys on this Mets club that will run, takes his lead as Piazza takes ball 1. This Mets club has stolen only 38 bases as a team.
Brian McRae has 14 of those, so you have McRae and Gilkey. And the Yankees, with this combination of the strong arm behind home plate, Jorge Posada, and the move of Andy Pettit, completely shut down the Mets running game unless it's a hit and run.
There's that good move, and Gilkey back in time. He has a short lead. Even though Gilkey is quick, very quick in the outfield, getting the balls down the line, he's fast. He's never been an accomplished base stealer, and there's a big difference. 1 on, 1 out. Piazza, good swing, strike 1.
There's a big hole, I mean a huge hole, on the right side of the infield. The reason that Chuck Knobloch right there can play that close to second base with a guy who hits the ball to right field with consistency and has for the Mets is because of Andy Pettit's cut fastball. Because Pettit keeps the ball inside, and that's his best pitch, you can afford to move your second baseman over near second a little more than you normally would.
Time has been called twice in a row now, and I don't know if Tino Martinez is having a problem. Charlie Williams still has his hands in the air, and now Mike Piazza is going to trot down and talk to Cookie Rojas, the third base coach of the New York Mets. Tino Martinez looked like he was having a problem with maybe a sign or something bothering him. If you're Tino Martinez with Andy Pettit on the mound, you better be ready and be able to see, because Pettit will check on the runner time and time again.
What you'll see all afternoon from Andy Pettit is that pitch right there. What they're trying to get him to do is to throw that fastball more on the outside part of the plate.
1 ball, 1 strike on Piazza. Back inside and strike 2. Mike Piazza, the active career average leaders, is number 2 behind Tony Gwynn. Ahead of Boggs, Frank Thomas, Edgar Martinez. In career here at Shea, he's a .364 hitter. 1 on, 1 out, a ball and 2 strikes on Piazza.
One thing that pickoff move does, it keeps the runner so close to first base that normally runners, even a guy who with better than average speed like Yoki, they don't have a chance to get down and take out Knobloch or Jeter on a double play attempt.
Piazza in the hole, 1 and 2. That's foul. Ball boy missed the ball, so it's rolling down into the left field corner as Valentine contemplates this situation. So Torrey, that's about as relaxed a manager as has ever worn the Yankee uniform. He's always kicked back, got the shades on, and why not? They're off to a 54-19 start.
Joe Torre can afford to relax because Don Zimmer doesn't.
He moves around and worries enough for both of them. A ball and 2 strikes on Piazza. That's a fair ball. Brocious, a nice play. Over to first. And they got Piazza. Evidently on the tag.
Had to tag him to get the out. Bobby Valentine will question that. But Tino Martinez was not on the bag. It did not appear. Watch Brocious look at second. That cost him. And now the long throw. Did he tag him? He had to tag him to get the out because the foot was off the bag. That little look towards second base looked like he tagged him inadvertently. Yep.
Good call by Frank Pulley, and now with a runner at second, 2 out. John Olerud will try to come up with a first inning hit, something he couldn't do last night with the bases loaded and nobody out. Bobby Valentine arguing, but the replay would verify, and there was no argument whatsoever from Piazza.
Right.
But the proper call was made. Strike 1 on Olerud, who likes to go the other way with the baseball.
Especially with against left-handed pitching. As a matter of fact, Olerud this year is batting .393 against left-handers. He continues that during the season. He will match Ken Griffey Sr., who batted .393 against lefties back in 1976 with a Big Red Machine.
One ball, 1 strike. Here the outfield hits by direction for Olerud.
Not a good Yankee matchup right here because Andy Pettit, left-handers are hitting .306 against him for his career. And as we said, Olerud, very prolific against left-handers.
2-1 on Olerud. Husky would follow Olerud if he should reach here in the first inning. Butch is driven in 41. Olerud is driven in 42 for Bobby Valentine. Go-ahead run at second with 2 out for Olerud. And a breaking ball for strike 2. Two and 2 on Olerud. Seen quite a few hitters in the first inning, top and bottom half, fighting off some nasty pitches. Knobloch did it. Jeter did it. Alfonso did it, but he eventually grounded out. Now Olerud did it on 2 and 2 from Pettit. Gilkey, a 1-out walk, moved to second on the ground out by Piazza. Gilkey stealing third. No throw by Posada.
Only stolen base number 3 on the year, and you have to have a terrific jump with 2 outs and moving toward third. Not only are there 2 outs, but the catcher has a clear shot to throw with the left-hander up there. You better make it, and he did.
Now the 3-2 to Olerud. Inning over as Pettit gets strikeout number 1. The Mets leave a runner stranded at third, and after 1 of this Subway Series on a Saturday, no score. Second inning, here's Strawberry. Darryl Strawberry will lead it off. And here may be one exception where the Mets fans will join in with the Yankee fans and applaud Strawberry for all the years here in New York. He ran into a lot of trouble in the late years. But when he came up with the New York Mets, he was compared to guys like Ted Williams. He was pounding the ball out of the park. 1 year at 39 home runs.
Came up on Willie Mays' birthday in 1983, early May.
And takes a strike from Jones.
A deadly, and I mean lethal, low ball hitter. This is where Jones will try to get him out on the hands, even though the first pitch was away. There.
Little up and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Strawberry batting in the cleanup spot. They've moved Tino Martinez out of that spot. 2-1 from Bobby Jones. The numbers for Strawberry in his 15th season. Rookie of the Year back in '83, an 8-time All-Star. His name was made here at Shea Stadium. 3-1. During batting practice, fans giving him a standing ovation. He was bouncing the ball off the scoreboard here in right field. Watch out here on 3-1. A leadoff walk.
A good pitcher will not show a hitter early in the count where he's going to try to get him out. For instance, take this sequence. First pitch is strike away. Look at the next 4 pitches. Inside. 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 And he misses high.
Rather obvious what they're trying to do with Strawberry.
Tease him at first and then go to his weakness.
But a leadoff walk and the first base runner of the afternoon for the Yankees, and now Tino Martinez. It's well documented what Tino Martinez has been doing since being drilled on May 19th by Armando Benitez of the Orioles. He's hitting just $173 in 26 games. This at bat from catcher camp for you. Ball one low. Mike Piazza has been kind enough to wear it. And Tino Martinez is trying to ignite something for the Yankees here in the second with no score. There are the numbers since he was hit by Benitez.
Joe, we talked about it last week in Cleveland when we did the Cleveland and Yankee game. Joe Torre telling us that Tino Martinez does not have full extension of that right arm. That's in the finish of the swing.
Another missing from Jones. He's getting wild. 2-0 on Martinez.
6 balls in a row after that strike to Strawberry.
Strawberry's running. A chance for Piazza. Darrell, goodbye. 1 away.
Joe Torre gives the green light to all his runners, but that is a terrible time to try to steal second base. When a pitcher shows that he can't throw strikes, why help him out and take him out of the inning? Or at least take yourself off the base. 6 balls in a row. The pitch to Martinez was inside. That's 7 in a row. And Strawberry did perhaps what Jones couldn't do.
Get the first out of the inning.
Right.
Now the 3-0 to Martinez. How often do you see that? A man out stealing in the next pitch, or in the next couple of pitches, a walk or a hit. And after the leadoff walk, a man out stealing, and now a walk to Martinez.
Piazza's throw right on the money. Notice how Ordonez is straddling the bag. A lot of middle infielders will take the throw in front of the bag and bring it back. That takes time. Ordonez fielding it properly, but a very poor choice to go on for Darrell Strawberry.
Piazza was right on the money. In his estimation, the Dodgers were not right on the money. And here he is in New York after dropping his bags in Florida for a handful of games. Played with 3 different organizations in a matter of 9 days. Posada takes a strike. Strawberry on the walk, out stealing, caught for the 4th time this season. He has stolen 7. A walk to Martinez. It's 1 on, 1 out. Big breaking ball, strike 2.
There's that looping curveball by Bobby Jones. That was a real downer right there. That's as good a curveball as Jones can throw.
They don't hold against Martinez at first. Olrud's in between Martinez and the bag, and Posada takes ball 1. Joe Girardi started behind the plate last night. Today it's Posada who has the better power numbers. He's hit 8 home runs, hitting .265. From 0-2 to 2-2. Chad Curtis next. Jammed him, but Posada fought it off.
That was a peanut butter and jam right there. That ball was in the kitchen, in the pantry.
How about a look at it from catcher camp?
Where you keep all your canned goods.
And the count still 2-2 on Posada.
John Olerud plays a roving first base when he is holding a runner on. Last night in a sacrifice situation, Al Leiter throwing over there several times. A lot of people think it messed up his rhythm.
Breaking ball grounded to Olerud. They get the lead man and turn him 2. 3-6-3. Olerud, Ordonez, Olerud. A lot of O's and already a lot of zeros.
Week
Brought to you by MCI 5-cent Sundays. Pay the least on the day you call the most. By Aflac, insuring over 40 million people worldwide. By Quikrete. Quikrete cement and concrete products help you do it yourself. And by Red Lobster. Come in and see for yourself why life on land is dry at Red Lobster.
Jorge Posada went fishing for that slider on the inside part, and look at John Olerud toward the bag, just fair, easily turned a 3-6-3 double play. It's interesting to note, Joe, you and I were talking about it between innings. If Strawberry doesn't try to steal second base, here's the double play again, and Martinez walks, the Yankees have runners on at first and second, nobody out, and the ball hit by Posada is down the line. Olerud plays the fat part of the field. If the hit is not a base hit, or if the ball hit by Posada is not a base hit, the very worst the Yankees would have, runners on at second and third and one out. That's why it was a bad play for Strawberry to go.
And you can see why Darryl, you can understand at least why Darryl's trying to do a little extra here in his return to Shea Stadium.
Yep.
And here's Husky to lead it off. He's had a problem in the right knee. Great cartilage in that right knee, but not enough to take him out of the lineup as he takes ball one inside. I like the way Butch Husky approached that injury. He didn't want to get an x-ray. He didn't want to know if there was something wrong.
Said, I'll take care of it during the offseason.
How many guys can you say that about in today's game? 2-0. There are a lot of people that say with the kind of machinery they have, they can check you out. They're going to find something wrong with you every time. Something's going to be wrong if you've been banging your body around long enough. Husky said, I don't want to know.
That's a guy with a one-year contract talking.
2 balls and a strike on Husky.
Now, I'm saying that kind of kiddingly, but and certainly nothing against Butch, but guys with long-term contracts in the early years, they don't take nearly as many chances as guys who are on one-year deals. Afraid somebody may take their jobs.
There's a beach ball down the left field line.
That's about how big the ball looked when Paul O'Neill went deep against Mel Rojas in last night's game.
So you're saying if Wally Pipp didn't go for x-rays,
or if Wally Pipp were on a longer-term contract.
2 balls and a strike on Husky. Leading it off in the second with no score. Base hit. Butch is on and adds to his 244 average. Talk to Joe Torre, who has managed in this ballpark with the Mets, played for the Mets. Here are his thoughts on this rivalry.
You can't dismiss this weekend. I mean, the people in New York, whether you're in the city, in Westchester, in New Jersey, I mean, people love what's going to happen and what is happening this weekend. And let's just hope it's a good, competitive series, and, you know, nobody gets hurt.
Joe Torre, a man from Marine Park in Brooklyn, he knows what Subway Series and inter-city rivalries are all about. As he sits in that Yankee dugout, 1 on, nobody out. Baerga takes a ball.
Joe Torre has done something that very few people have done. He has seen 2 perfect games pitched in the same city, 42 years apart. Don Larson in '56, David Wells in '98.
And you know Frank got him those tickets.
Of course.
For the Larson perfect.
Of course.
1 ball, no strikes on Baerga. 283 hitter. That won't be caught. 1 ball, 1 strike. Joe Torre was actually a player manager with the Mets. Back in '77, he managed here until '81. The numbers not all that great with the Mets, who struggled during those years, but the very next year he was in Atlanta as the manager and took the Braves to the postseason. They lost in the NLCS to the St. Louis Cardinals. Now you look at the numbers with the Yankees, Tim, forget about it. Pretty darn good.
92 wins in 1996 and a world championship. 96 last year, and they lost to Cleveland. Well, that year in 1971, you talk about hitting some lasers and using the fat part of the bat. There's a guy who couldn't run and still hit 363. Whew.
1 ball, 1 strike on Baerga. Does anybody in New York actually say, forget about it? Or do people from other cities just say that as a New York phrase?
The former is correct.
Which was that? I don't remember.
Forget about it then. Yeah, people in this area say forget about it, just like people in the South say y'all.
1-2 on Baerga. McCray to follow. So I'll put this to bed. Baerga foul. Carlos has never been a good hitter in the month of April. It was .266 in his career. He picked it up after the month of April. And for the year, a respectable .283. A vital part of the turnaround of the Cleveland Indians. Andy Pettitte trying to get around a leadoff hit by Husky. Two and two. When you heard those rumors floating around baseball about the Yankees being interested in Randy Johnson, all they really turned out to be were rumors. One of the names you heard a lot was Andy Pettitte. You look at the start, the young career of Andy Pettitte, you'd have to search a long time to find a better start. Got a career winning percentage of .670.
For Andy's career, 59 and 29. Plus, he does so many things to help himself with that killer pickoff move.
He's 26. He's already made 8 postseason starts. Although last year in the division series was 0-2 against Cleveland. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Baerga. Over the outside, part 1 away, and the second strikeout for Pettitte.
Andy Pettitte went outside that strike zone. We were talking about throwing too much inside. Well, he goes outside with a fastball. Posada sets up there, and Pettitte looked like a little cutter on the outside, a backdoor cutter. One problem that Mel Stottlemyre's had with Andy and trying to convince Andy is to open up a little bit more. Andy Pettitte throws a little bit too much across his body, not pointing that right foot enough toward home plate, pointing it more toward third and not toward home.
1-on-1 out now for McCray, who homered here last night, and that's just off the outside corner for ball 1.
That's a perfect example of what we were talking about right there. Here it is. Watch how that right foot right there doesn't open up. It doesn't point this way, it points that way. And that's what is meant when a pitcher is throwing across his body. It can cause serious shoulder problems along with a lot of other things.
1-0 the count. And that's off Posada's shoulder. Down to second is Husky. I wonder, Tim, if what you're talking about is a residual effect of that great pickoff move.
That's an interesting point.
Because he's always stepping over to first.
That is, I never thought of that, and that is a very interesting point. But there it is again, not opening that right foot up. The ball eludes Jorge Posada in the dirt. So a wild pitch on Andy Pettitte. You get a little better view right here. Well, look at the right foot. Not open up entirely. And now he is forced to let the arm do the rest.
A hit could mean a run. 2-0 on McCray. 3-0 with Ordonez next. Brian McCray had tried to call timeout. Brian, you want that pitch. It's 3-0. Wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility to have McCray swing on 3-0.
No, absolutely not, particularly with the bottom of the order following Bryant.
McCray is driven in 30. Ordonez up next is driven in 20. Then the pitcher, Jones. Looked like he was going to if he liked the pitch. He didn't. It's ball 4, and that's the second walk for Pettit. Right now for a Coors Light game break. Back to Chip in the Fox Television Center.
Joe, thank you very much. There are those in New York who think Chuck Knobloch's the best second baseman in baseball. The fans in Houston disagree. Craig Biggio's been the heart and soul for that first base ball club all summer long. He's driven in Brad Ausmus with the first run at Jacobs Field. The Astros and Indians, it's 1-0 between two first-place ball clubs.
All right, Chip. There's the Central Division in the American League. The Indians on a roll again. 15 games over 500. 9.5 games out in front of Minnesota. I agree with Chip. I don't think there's a better second baseman, and you could argue player, than Biggio. 2 on, 1 out. And that's a little high from Pettit. The guy plays every day. He's a leader. He leads off. He hits for power. He runs. He'll lean into a pitch, get hit by a pitch. He is, in my estimation, the MVP in the National League. On a team that gets very little attention. And the arguments are being raised all across America right now. 1 ball, no strikes on Ordonez. 2 on, 1 out. 2-0.
Or at least 64% of America.
That's right. The rest will hear about it. And a visit from Mel Stottlemyre, who used to work in the other dugout as well. Ordonez is at the plate, but he dazzles in the field. And last night nearly turned a triple play.
Runners on at first and second. 3-2 the count. He did not throw it the first time. Jorge Posada was faked back to first base by John Olerud. He did not have a good break. And Bobby Valentine quoted in the paper today saying if that play wasn't on, Posada is off with the pitch, and a rare triple play would have been turned. The first triple play the Mets would have turned since 1989.
Ordonez up on the count 2-0. We'll take the situation with Ordonez a step further and compare him to the Wizard, a guaranteed first-time ballot Hall of Famer. Ozzie Smith, the batting average, but these are through the first 345 games. The numbers are comparable, but Ozzie Smith really made himself a good hitter after that. 2 on, 1 out. Good pitch, 2 and 1.
I guess you could do a lot of things with numbers, but it's very deceptive, that first page that you saw, because Ozzie Smith had a lot more speed, stole 5 times as many stolen bases during that time, and look at his walks. Ordonez does not walk. And then Ozzie, a switch hitter, had a better chance to become a better hitter, and he did.
He finished with nearly 2,500 hits. The label of all glove no hit didn't fit Ozzie Smith after the first 3 years. 2 balls and a strike. Runners go, and Ordonez chops it foul. 2-2.
That was a hit and run right there, and a good time to put it on. Butch Husky running to third. Brian McRae trying to run to third, and Ordonez hammered it off his left foot. But with the pitcher coming up, this is an ideal and unusual hit and run with runners on at first and second.
And Ordonez is still in pain and still trying to shake that off.
That'll cut down on his rumba. If you think well, of course Ozzie Smith could dance too, but if you think Ray Ordonez could play shortstop, you ought to see him dance.
I've never heard that sentence uttered on a baseball broadcast.
Well,
before.
you've heard it for the first time.
He's a good dancer.
I am telling you, I have been in the clubhouse when he's been playing that Latin music and the salsa music. He can flat boogie. Believe me.
Well, he is in a lot of pain, and this is now to the point where normally if it's something that's able to be shaken off, well, then it's happened by now. But Ordonez, as he wants to stay for 100 obvious reasons, is still walking with a little limp.
Those are rarely very serious, but you mentioned last week Matt Williams hammering a ball off his right foot and breaking it, and that missed 3 months of the season for the Giants several years ago.
You would have to drag a guy out of the lineup on a day like this.
Oh, yeah.
Mets and the Yankees, game 2 of this 3-game series. Mets have the game's only hit and have a scoring chance here. with 2 on, 1 out, and a 2-2 count on Ordonez. Foul. Wow. Here's what Bobby Valentine had to say to Ordonez when he went up to the plate.
Where'd you get it? Top edge, bud. You all right? All right, get a hit. Okay? Nice deep breath. You're a good player. Come on. Don't do that again, will you? Christmas sake.
You all right? Yeah, get a hit. With the Mets want 2 on, 1 out, and a 2-2 count. That is foul.
That was very close. Would have scored at least 1 run. About 3 inches foul.
And again, that's Greg Gibson over there, filling in for Ed Rapuano, who lost his grandmother. There's Greg. Nice call to get for Greg to get a chance to fill in a series like this. Time will be called as paper or plastic. Plastic bag is floating through the infield and headed into left. Quart of milk, loaf of bread, stick of butter. 2-2 on Ordonez. Ordonez is battling Pettit, and he's got to be the guy to do it.
With Bobby Jones on deck, but Andy Pettit has continued to throw that cutter inside, inside, inside. You put that cutter on the fat part of the bat, more often than not, you pull it foul. In order to keep a ball like that that's really boring in on you, in order to keep it fair, often you hit it on the trademark.
Again, the 2-2. Might be 2. Brocious out at second. Bad throw. Here comes Husky. Martinez, no play, and the Mets take a 1-0 lead.
Chuck Knobloch has had some throwing problems this year. Brocious gives him a nice toss at second base. That's ideal. And the throw off to the outfield side. Brian McRae does what he can to break it up, but this ball's got to be turned. The throw is off before McRae made his slide. But Knobloch has had problems throwing, and it comes up to bite the Yankees.
That's his 9th error of the season. It looked like on this play, Knobloch was expecting more than he got from McRae.
See, that throws off before Brian comes in there. That's nothing to a second baseman making the pivot. Oh, hit hard. Butch Husky. Whoa. To go home. This inning's not over with.
And an ugly slide to cap a good play for the Mets. How about Bobby Jones a flare into left center? Ordonez will head to third. And that's likely another error on the Yankees here in the second.
It is an error on Chad Curtis, his second consecutive error on the last 3 pitches. Ordonez rounded second base like he was going to third. Curtis tries to hurry the play. As a result, bobbled the ball, and after Ordonez had stopped, he went to third.
Here's manager Bobby Valentine.
Look at you. Look at us. Look at us. Look at us. Look at us. That's the hustle we're talking about. Stay aggressive. Stay aggressive.
And now first and third with 2 out. Alfonso took a strike. That's Bobby Valentine right there, isn't it? I mean, you can't play a better soundbite and capture what it is that he does in a dugout for a ball club.
Yep, that's right.
First and third, 2 out.
Total opposite of Joe Torre.
2 good pitches from Pettit, strike 2. 2 errors in the inning for Joe Torre's club.
That's the epitome of what Joe Torre represents to the Yankees, too.
One's on the second step of the dugout. The other's kicked back in the dugout bench. The 0-2 to Alfonso. Got him over the inside corner. Charlie Williams thought about it and rung him up. 1 run, 2 hits, a walk, 2 errors, 2 left. We'll return to Shea after this from your local station. Folks, it's a boxing baseball doubleheader tonight on FX. First at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Undefeated Olympic gold medalist David Reed takes on 3-time champ Simon Brown. Then the main event, Shane Mosley takes on Wilfred Ruiz. The doubleheader continues with the Pirates taking on the Dodgers at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, only on FX. Here's Chad Curtis, first at bat of the afternoon for Chad, as Jones has faced the minimum despite 2 walks. A man out stealing a double play ball. It'll be Curtis, Brocious, and Pettit for the Yankees in the third. Mets on an earned run take a 1-0 lead. Knobloch talking about that throw. And a good play by a fan who brought a glove to the park right below the booth. 0-2 on Curtis. You can't assume the double play, but everybody on the Yankees side was assuming one.
Common sense would tell you that would be an unearned run, but the baseball rules tell you earned.
0-2 on Curtis, and an easy ground ball to Baerga. 1-1. Let's take you now to Susie Colbert, who's standing by with former Brooklyn Dodger great Ralph Branca.
Well, the Dodgers and the Giants, such a big part of the New York baseball tradition. Ralph Branca, renowned for that shot heard around the world. I guess you could sympathize with Mel Rojas last night.
Listen, when you send the best man you have in, you don't always win. Bobby Valentine made a judgment on all the information you had at hand. The average person watching the game does not understand that Mel Rojas probably has better stats against a left-handed hitter than Brian Bohannon. So he sent him in. He didn't make a good pitch, and the guy hit a home run. So Bobby Valentine gets second guess. The Dodgers sent in their best pitcher once, and he threw a home run ball. You know what? They still did the right thing. So you don't always win. You do what the tendencies are, what your information dictates to you to do, and you make that move. If it doesn't work out, hey, it's baseball. This is not a computer that does everything the same way every time.
And Scott Brocious has a base hit here. So you're sticking up for Bobby Valentine, but overall, does a series like this bring out the excitement that you remember from the 50s?
Well, this is more condensed because it's only a 3-game series. When we played the Giants, you know, we played them 11 at home and 11 in the Polo Grounds, so we had 22 games. So it wasn't as intense as it would be here with only 3 games. But I think this is wonderful for baseball because it's wonderful for New York that both teams are, you know, contending. The Yankees, of course, look like they have a powerhouse team, and the Mets are struggling to make the playoffs. But, you know, they're a competitive club. They don't have the talent the Yankees have, but they are a very good ball club and don't make many mistakes on the field. And, you know, pitching is not an exact science. I mean, you can make a bad pitch and get away with it, and you make a good pitch and they get a base hit.
Okay, Ralph. Thanks. Enjoy the game.
Susie, thank you.
Joe?
All right, Susie, thank you. Good bunt after the base hit by Brocious as Pettit laid it down. Sacrifice 1-4. And it's a runner at second with 2 out with Knobloch coming up. Susie talked about sticking up for Bobby Valentine. Ralph Branca was sticking up for his son-in-law.
That's right.
His daughter Mary married Bobby Valentine, so keep that in mind.
There was a big difference in that 3-game series back in '51, and obviously this one. Back in '51, when Ralph threw that pitch, the Dodgers went home. After tomorrow's game, the Mets go to Toronto next Tuesday, and the Yankees stay here and play Philadelphia on Tuesday.
Couple on. The Giants are trailing 4-2 in the bottom of the 9th inning. And the Thompson home run won it for the Giants 5-4 in Game 3 of that 3-game playoff. Knobloch chops it foul third base side, and that's strike one. Chuck would like to make up for the one he in essence let in on the bad throw on the double play, trying to knock in Brocious, who's at second with 2 out. Knobloch's driven in 29. Strike 2 as Jones just overpowered him there. 0-2. Knobloch drove in 2 runs in last night's game. Grounded out to short his first time up. Can't hit the corner as Piazza tried to pull it back. 1-2. Jeter next. To the right side, should be caught. Will it? Baerga takes it, makes a play, and the inning is over. A 1-out hit by Brocious. He's left stranded. Yankees lead their first, and after 2.5, 1-0 Mets. Back to the Hill. Mets bat. They lead 1-0. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Gilkey. And there's ball 1. Bernie walked, stole a base, stole third in the first inning, and was left on as Olerud struck out. Mets have scored 1, stranded 3. 2-0.
11 days ago, Bernard Gilkey was hit in the helmet right above the ear by Rick Dempster, the right-hander with the Florida Marlins.
That's a foul ball, and it's 2-1.
Bernie suffering from a form of double vision, some spots in his left eye. His vision is that was impaired is okay now. Back to becoming the quasi-regular left fielder for the Mets. Great year 2 years ago, bad year last year.
Off the plate and a base hit. A leadoff base hit for the 2nd inning in a row. The Mets put their leadoff man on. I'll ask you, you're here a lot. Okay. What's going to happen after the All-Star break when Todd Hundley comes back and you have this guy Gilkey, Olerud at first, and an outfield that seemingly is well fortified? Guys might not be playing all that well. Where's Todd Hundley going to fit in?
Well, they're going to, I think, different scenarios. Number one, if Hundley comes back and is activated, as everybody thinks, he will play. Now, will he catch in place of Mike Piazza? I don't think so initially, even though I think Todd Hundley's a better defensive catcher than Piazza is. Also, he's more familiar with the pitchers than Piazza is. But I don't think Mike is ready to go to the outfield. I think Hundley, who's been working out in Florida, is more ready. And the Mets have the option of moving Bernard Gilkey to right field and sitting Butch Husky, possibly helping him rest that knee, or trading Bernard Gilkey.
1 ball, no strikes on Piazza. That's a double play ball. Brocious to Knobloch. Better throw this time. 2 out. Right now for a Coors Light game break. Let's go back to Chip in the Fox Television Center.
Joe and Tim, the Astros starting to show a bit of vulnerability in the National League Central. The Astros have dropped 3 straight games, and Mark Whitten has just hit a long 2-run homer for the Tribe, who have been red hot. Cleveland's won 6 in a row, longest active streak in the big leagues. It's now 3-1 in the bottom of the 4th. Back to you all in the Big Apple.
All right, Chip, thank you very much. And while you talk about Houston showing some vulnerability with 2 out, nobody on, Olerud strike 1. How about Mark Whitten? They got David Bell, the Indians did. As you look at the Astros lead 5 over the Brewers and the Cubs 8.5 over the Cardinals, and that division is starting to get more interesting as we go, only because the Astros are starting to stumble. That's foul. But how about the Indians? John Hart adds Mark Whitten, who's hitting over 300, driving in runs. David Bell, who's hitting right around 300 and driving in runs. And they got a number 8 hitter in Travis Fryman, who's knocked in nearly 50.
And they've won 6 in a row. starting with that Yankee win last Sunday.
Behind Bartolo Colon, who won last night. That hit Olerud, barely grazed him, and Andy Pettitte hits his 5th hitter of the season.
This little curveball stays inside and just nicks John Olerud on the right arm. Talking about the Hundley situation further, Todd Hundley, in my estimation, and knowing how grueling the catching position can be, is not going to be able to throw from behind the plate this year. He could, however, throw from the outfield because he can wind up and throw out there where you can't do that behind the plate. There's too much torque. And that's another reason that you will not see Husky, in my estimation, behind the plate this year. Or Hundley, I beg your pardon.
Husky's at the plate. He singled and scored his first time up. Probably the best spot would be the first base spot. But you've got Olerud there. You're not going to move John Olerud. And it would seem that Hundley would fit into left field. For years, the last couple of years, everybody's been saying Piazza ought to move out from behind the plate anyway.
Here's a chance for him to do it, and he can.
Nothing is 2 to count. Olerud at first. Ball 1 to Husky.
Butch Husky has a big swing, and he is vulnerable. You can tie him up, and then with 2 strikes, right-handers try to go away with it. But fastballs in the strike zone out over the plate. That's his strength.
Still 1-2 as Husky spoiled a good pitch.
And when I say strength, you're talking about a huge man, 245 pounds, 6'4". Would have played football at the University of Oklahoma had Barry Switzer been the coach there. He loved Barry Switzer.
Brocious just did stay down on it. Gets the force out at second to end the inning. A base hit, a hit batsman, 1 left. Mets have left 4, and after 3, big guys coming up, 1-0 Mets. We get to the 4th inning. Game 2 of this Subway Series. There's a guy up on the lights. Must be one of the Orioles advanced scouts. We'll be in New York to watch the Orioles and the Yankees hook up next Saturday.
Yep.
And we're glad you're with us this Saturday. And I know you're glad you're with us on this Saturday. Derek Jeter leads it off. And takes a strike. Jeter, O'Neill, Strawberry. 3 of the best that the Yankees can send at you. They trail by a run here in the 4th inning. 1 ball, 1 strike on Derek, who grounded out to short his first time up. That might be going a little too far.
One assumes that's the skyline of New York. The receding skyline of New York.
2 balls and a strike. Two and 1 to Jeter. You notice the guy with thinning hair doesn't chime in on that. 2-2 to number 2. He's hit 9 home runs. And he has said, you see him shaking his head, he has said that he has felt a little lost out there on the field since coming back off the disabled list with that pulled stomach muscle. He said it's really been a little off both defensively and at the plate. From catcher cam on 2-2. Just missed low and away. Full count.
Joe Torre's glad to have Derek Jeter back because the number 2 hitters, while Jeter was on the disabled list, were only 9 for 50 with no stolen bases. And obviously the Yankees do not have anybody who can come anywhere close to playing the shortstop defensively that Jeter can. Inside with a fastball.
And he jammed him into shallow center by Erga. He better catch it because McCray never saw it. 1 away. Well, we've already touched on it. We'll tell you more about next Saturday. Join us next week as American League Eastern Division rivals clash in New York as the Yankees host the Orioles on the 4th of July. It begins at 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central with In the Zone right here on Fox. 1 out, nobody on, and here's O'Neill, who is booed lustily after his 3-run home run here last night in Game 1. Up the middle, and Adam played perfectly. Ordonez on the first base side, and Allrood missed it.
With left-handed batters, Bobby Valentine has placed his shortstop right there, almost behind second base. No other shortstop in baseball gets to this ball. Look how far on the other side of second Ordonez is, and then Allrood misses it. Right there. Extremely rare error by Allrood. I have no idea what happened. His 4th error on the year. Wow.
1 on, 1 out. Here's Strawberry. Big swing. Strike 1. You can go seasons without seeing that. Chest high throw from Ordonez, and Allrood missed it. 0-1 on Strawberry. Strike 2.
I'm not trying to make excuses for John Allrood, but there is a tent in left center field, and from where Ordonez was throwing, he could have thrown the ball in the white stripes, and the ball could have been lost. Otherwise, John Allrood does not miss a ball right there. Maybe.
0-2 on Strawberry. Now 1-2.
Ordonez on the other side of second base. The throw. See that white tent back there? Right in the top of your screen. Now, I'm saying that could have possibly gotten in the way of John Allrood.
Strawberry gets a base hit to right. And O'Neill will take advantage of Husky and get to third. First and third, 1 out.
Husky went for the decoy. Paul O'Neill stopped at second base and decoyed Butch Husky into thinking he was going to stop, and then he took off again. A curveball grounded into a hole, and watch O'Neill. He stops right there, and then he takes off the afterburner. I think Butch Husky, thinking he was going to stop at second, didn't charge it aggressively. Good base running by O'Neill.
Tying run 90 feet away for the Yankees. Another look at Husky. First and third, 1 out for Tino Martinez. An error by Allrood set up this tight spot for Bobby Jones. The base hit by Strawberry. Runners at the corner. I don't think there's any team in baseball, Tim, that's working at a higher percentage this season at taking advantage of the opposition's mistakes than the New York Yankees.
No question about that. Every level.
Another step to third, look to first move. Driven to deep right. Off the bat of Martinez and gone. Posada, strike one.
Hanging curveball to Martinez.
Now the 0-1 to Posada. 1 ball, 1 strike. So many different players in Joe Torre's lineup can jump up and fight you. And Tino Martinez just took a chunk out of the Mets with a 3-run home run, which followed an error and a base hit. That's hooked foul. And they're getting some pretty big swings now on Bobby Jones. From catcher cam, that last swing as Posada hooked it foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Jorge. The Yankees and their fans have taken over the lead here in the 4th inning.
Last night, it sounded like 65% Met fans, 35% Yankee fans. Today, it's at least 50-50.
Three-2 to Posada. Two out.
Center fielder Chad Curtis.
Allrood with the mistake. Give the Yankees an inch and they'll take a division.
Inexplicable error by John Allrood.
I like your try, though.
Try.
There could be something to that.
Maybe.
But the end result is bad for the Mets. Ball 1 to Chad Curtis. Curtis rounded to second his first time up. Two balls, no strikes on Curtis, hitting .272. 2-1 from Jones. O'Neill reached on the error, then the hit by Strawberry and the blast by Martinez. Two out, nobody on, and Curtis hits it back here.
You and I were going in polar opposite directions.
We're going to let that foul ball sit right in between us. Two from Bobby Jones. He wants to think about it. That should end the inning into left center. Gilkey over to get it. And the Yankees are finished in the 4th inning. Last night it was a hanging fourth ball from Rojas to O'Neill. Hanging breaking ball to Martinez. 3-1 Yankees. Here is our Aflac trivia question. Who is the only person in uniform today who was in the Mets 1962 opening day lineup?
We finally got an easy one.
There's a hint there somewhere.
Yeah,
There's
somewhere.
a hint there somewhere. He's also the last Brooklyn Dodger in uniform now that Tommy Lasorda is an interim GM and Johnny Padres resigned a couple of years back as pitching coach of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Sometimes when you have a right-handed pitcher and a left-handed pitcher working, there is a hole across the rubber. That's, of course, off of which they push. And Andy Pettit pushing off of one end of the rubber and Bobby Jones off the other. And often the left-hander or the right-hander will land in the other one's hole. The Mets, meanwhile, trying to get out of a 3-1 hole here in the 4th inning.
Well, we have a moment to fill here at Shea Stadium. Talk about the Mets' proposed new stadium. According to the plan design, the Mets' new stadium would resemble old Ebbets Field with a capacity of 45,000 seats for baseball, including 4,500 club level seats as well as 78 luxury boxes. There's the resemblance to Ebbets Field. You saw, if you caught it, the grass field supposedly could be rolled into a fenced-in parking lot in 15 minutes, so the stadium could be used for other events, and has a projected estimated cost of $500 million. That would replace Shea Stadium, which the Mets opened here in 1964.
Not a long time ago, huh? 34 years for a modern day, at the time, state-of-the-art stadium. If that's publicly funded and the Mets get that through over the next 2 or 3 months, then what does George Steinbrenner and the Yankees do? They say, well, tear ours down, build on the west side. We're not going to New Jersey. You owe us as much public funding as you do the Mets.
Although the projected cost is slightly higher.
A bit.
For the one in the city. I read $1 billion. $1 billion.
A lot of money.
0-2 on Baerga.
Took Bill Gates 2 or 3 years to make that kind of money.
A minute. Baerga hitting 283 at the start of the day, and he is the first out as Posada takes care of him here in the 4th inning. Oh, we talked about the early years with the Mets. The manager back in '62 when the New York Mets came to the major leagues. Casey Stengel, the old professor, was the manager for the New York Mets.
As soon as the kid could talk, he started to say Metsy, Metsy, not Papa, not Mama, Metsy, Metsy, Metsy. So that's what they are. They're now singing the kids, Metsy, Metsy, Metsy. See, when they want food and everything. So the babies are even starting.
That's Casey Stengel, the old professor, as McRae pops it into right for the second out of the inning. His number retired here, and of course he managed with the Yankees in their glory years.
10 out of 11 pennants from 1949 to 1960.
Played during the dead ball era, and he is credited by great managers such as Whitey Herzog, a guy who arguably could head toward the Hall of Fame at some point, with giving him a lot of his ideas about the running game. Substitutions, platooning.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Platooning, which didn't make him a popular guy with some of his players. 2 out, nobody on, and a breaking ball from Pettit. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Whitey Herzog, who also does a great impersonation of Casey Stengel. Also.
1 ball, 1 strike on Ordonez. Now 2-1. 2 out, nobody on here in the 4th inning. Stengel was here in '62, and I think it was Don Zimmer that talked about the importance of having him here as manager, publicity-wise, for the Mets in their first year. A year in which they lost 120 games. Then after opening this park, there's Don Zimmer. Remember the Aflac question. We haven't given the answer yet, I don't think. And then after opening the park here in '64, Stengel had to retire midway through '65. 2 out, nobody on Ordonez, and that's pulled foul. Okay, we've done it. We've killed the anticipation and the suspense. Our Aflac trivia question: the only person in uniform today, literally, who's in the Mets 1962 opening day lineup, Don Zimmer. Played third base, hit 7th. Our Aflac trivia answer. Up the middle, Jeter to his left. Can't get the out. Kept it on the infield. infield and from his knees could not get Ordonez, who nearly found out how it felt to have a hit taken away.
Ray Ordonez looking at Jeter as if to say, hey, I'm the only one who makes plays like this. Yankee fans know that's not true. Fine play by Jeter, but throwing from his knees fails to get Ordonez. Obviously an infield hit for Ray Ordonez.
And a good play by Martinez to just come off the bag, get it on a hop, keep a runner out of scoring position. Here's Jones. He got a hit his first time up. Now 6 out of 23 at the plate for the season. Took ball 1. One ball, 1 strike. Pettit had his toughest inning back in the second. Started with a leadoff hit. The error behind him. Base hit by the pitcher, but he got out of further trouble, stranding 2 in the inning. The Mets have already left 4. And they've fallen into that rut of leaving a lot of runners stranded. Having a tough time coming up with key hits or even sacrifice flies or RBI groundouts in 1998.
Last night, a perfect example. Bases loaded, nobody out in the first inning. John Olerud grounds into a double play. They end up with 1 run. First and third in the 6th inning. Nobody out. Double play turned by Posada at first base. Even though he had a play at the plate, he gave the Mets a lead, but again, only 1 run.
2 balls, 2 strikes from Pettit. Hideki Irabu struggled in that first inning, but what a difference an offseason makes. Irabu has been terrific. One of the 6 starters the Yankees can throw at. Now 3-2 on Jones, and it gets a little interesting as Ordonez will get a head start. Jones tries to fight his way on base for Alfonso, who would be next. Mendoza with his elbows on his knees. He was the winner here last night.
Oh, interesting. Tino Martinez telling Andy Pettit he's going to play behind Ray Ordonez. That's almost the type of play that Bobby Valentine would use. Telling him he was going to play behind him, he moved back, and then Pettit tried to pick him off. That's a design play.
He'll go on this 3-2 pitch. Jones strikes out. That's 2 strikeouts in the inning for Pettit. 5 on the afternoon, and after 4, the Yankees lead the Mets 3-1. To the 5th inning here in the 2nd game of this 3-game weekend series at Shea Stadium. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, Susie Colber with you. Our producer is John Filippelli. Our director is Bill Webb. And we've enjoyed bringing you the first 4 innings of this game. We've got some excitement left as the Yankees bat here in the 5th inning. And so far, so good. It's lived up. Last night was a thrilling game here at Shea Stadium. You always wonder if the series is going to be as good as the hype surrounding it. Well, Jones is hanging tough. Pettit got through a rough 2nd inning, and it's a 2-run game into the 5th. Ambrosius first up. Strike 1.
How lethal are the Yankees? A man who has hit in the 7, 8, and 9 holes this year has 4 more RBIs than the Mets catcher that turned down $80 million over a 7-year period. That's how lethal the Yankees are. Scott Brosius with 49 RBIs. He had 1 last night, 4 more than Piazza.
Take it a step further. All right. You may be looking at the American League All-Star third baseman.
Yeah, as a 9-hole hitter primarily. Played all but 3 games for the Yankees this year.
And he is getting good swings. A ball and 2 strikes from Bobby Jones. Joe Torre was named to the staff by manager Mike Hargrove. So he will head to the All-Star game, which will be out in Denver.
Week from Tuesday.
They're going to have that home run hitting contest out there with the likes of McGuire and others. They may have to stop the home run hitting contest to play the game the next night. All right, that's all enough.
Really
McGuire, Sosa.
Yeah, really been a boring first half of the season, huh? Juan Gonzalez with 96 RBIs. Ken Griffey Jr. his 31st home run last night. Left the game with a pulled hamstring, however.
2-2 on Brocious. Got the Yankees start. Kerry Wood.
Yeah.
And what he's doing in Chicago. Say the same for Sosa. McGuire with the 35 home runs. Brocious pops it up for Baerga. And the leadoff man is gone for the Yankees here in the 5th.
You have the young man who replaced Chuck Knobloch in Minnesota, who could be the American League Rookie of the Year this year, Todd Walker, who's 4th in the American League in hitting.
Another candidate, and I've never seen him play in person, is Ben Grieve.
Oh, yeah. What a swing. Whew.
1 out, nobody on for Pettit, who dropped down a good bunt his first time up. So far this season in interleague play is 0 for 2 at the plate. The Yankees lead 3-1 in the 5th. Breaking ball for Baerga. To his left, he makes the play. 2 gone.
And Joe, you also have the Boston Red Sox. I mean, the Boston Red Sox are 10 games behind the Yankees and 15 games over 500. The Red Sox have had a terrific first half, and they get lost in the shuffle because of the success of the Yankees.
And they probably have the comeback player of the year in Brett Saberhagen, who worked here with the Mets. Here's Knobloch. 0 for 2. A ground out, a pop-up. There's the American League wild card race with the Rangers in second place in the AL West, a game behind the Red Sox. They're 15 games over 500. Ball 1. You can say what you want about the wild card. There's been a lot said about the wild card, especially when it first was introduced. But where would teams like Boston, the New York Mets, who have to play in the same division as the Atlanta Braves year after year, where would they be without the wild card? You can make the case that the biggest change to the game along those lines came in 1969 when they went to divisional play. But they've added 6 teams since then. You've got to give these guys something to play for at the end of the season. And you don't hear a lot of people complain about the wild card anymore.
Or interleague play.
2 balls and a strike, 2 out, nobody on, and that's foul off the bat of Knobloch. Knobloch trying to reach base for the first time this afternoon and keep the top of the 5th inning alive for the Yankees. In the bottom of this inning, it'll be the top of the lineup for the Mets. Alfonso, Gilkey, and Piazza. That's well hit into right. Husky there to pull it in, and the Yankees go in order for just the 2nd time this afternoon. Halfway through it, top of the order coming up. 3-1 Yankees. Really turns out to be a beautiful day here in New York. Somebody wondering how hot, how muggy, how humid it might be. Well, there is a stiff breeze blowing through this park, and it has been since we started. And with folks watching on the subway platform, well, this is just a wonderful afternoon here in New York and for the game of baseball. Top of the order for Edgardo Alfonso, and he takes ball 1 high from Pettit.
Keep in mind, the Mets behind by 2. That's no hill to climb with this ball club, or for this ball club. They are a very feisty bunch.
2-0 from Pettit.
May not have the talent the Yankees do, but they certainly have the same feistiness.
Back off the corner. Borderline pitch, and Pettit got the call. 2-1. Gilkey, Piazza will follow. Anybody else? Olrud. Well hit into left field. Strawberry on the move to make the catch, one away. Let's go back down to Susie Colbert. Susie?
High up in the left field bleachers, two guys both named Johnny, born on the same day. One's a Met, one's a Yankee. What's the difference?
The Yankees are the best, #1. The Mets are the better team. Mets are #1. They Mets. Yeah. Winning both games.
Section's rocking, guys.
All right, Susie, be careful. Here's Gilkey, takes a breaking ball for strike one.
You can imagine the cake on their birthday. One side's blue and white, the other's blue and orange.
A lot of icing to deal with. 1 ball, 1 strike on Gilkey, who's been on base twice. Base hit up the middle his last time up. 3-1, the Yankees lead in the 5th. That's back here for strike 2. Two and two.
Joe, I think it's interesting to note that the Met hitters this afternoon are having the same types of problems that the Yankee hitters had last night. With Al Leiter starting for the Mets, Yankee hitters just could not get a bead on that fastball inside. So far, neither of the Mets.
Gilkey shoots it foul down the right field line. Still 2 and 2. Olerud probably wondering what this game might look like score-wise without his error.
Yeah.
On the throw that he missed from Ordonez. Gilkey strikes out for the 2nd out of the inning, and that's 6 strikeouts for Pettit. And a look at the game summary, which is brought to you by B.F. Goodrich. Butch Husky scored on a throwing error by Chuck Knobloch. Tino Martinez, the only RBIs today for the Yankees, a 3-run shot in the 4th inning. And the Mets struggling again with runners in scoring position. They've left 5. Have 2 out. Nobody on here for Piazza. He looks at a ball.
Yankees are glad to see Mike Piazza up with nobody on and their 2-run lead.
2-0.
They realize it's only a matter of time before Piazza explodes. And while his average with the Mets has been commendable, right around 360 coming into today's game, his long ball has not been. Only 4 home runs with New York.
The Mets as a club hit 51 home runs for the season, which is middle or toward the latter side of the ledger for the National League. The resume for Piazza, National League Rookie of the Year in that string for the Dodgers, 5-time All-Star catcher. There's a strike, and it's 3-1. Well, you might see Piazza come out of his shoes here on 3-1.
On a pitch like that, I agree with you. That inside fastball, watch out.
He's 0 for 2 this afternoon.
Well, they were coming inside, too. Posada went inside. It's much more difficult to jam hitters when you're behind in the count because they look for that pitch inside. They look for something to drive.
Three and 1 to Piazza. Good pitch in on his hands, and that ball will get out of play. Top of the Mets dugout.
Well, National League pitchers have been coming inside to Mike Piazza. He can hit the pitch right there, but it's the pitch in here that he has problems with. And that's where that pitch was from Andy Pettit. That ball boring in on the hands of Mike Piazza, even with the count 3-1.
So now a full count. The Mets haven't gone in order all day, in danger of doing that here in the 5th. Posada sets up inside. They go back there, and Piazza fought it off. this is turning into a pretty good battle between these two as Piazza tries to extend the inning for Olerud.
Like a changeup.
Over the outside corner, and the Mets go in order. That's 7 strikeouts for Andy Pettitte. We move to the 6th. Yankees bat. They lead by 2. Of game 2 of this 3-game series. Yankees lead by a couple, and they will send in Jeter, O'Neill, and Strawberry. To the younger generation, it's the guy on Seinfeld.
Right.
To people even my age and older, it's one of the greatest defensive first basemen ever to play in this great city. How are you, Keith Hernandez?
Very good, Joe. How are you?
All right, good. You were here last night with your pal Jerry.
Yes, I know, but in the one episode I asked him to help me move, and I had to ask him for 1 ticket.
Oh, you got it from him?
Yes.
Here is Jeter, took a ball. Now the next is shot into right field. Husky there to get it. Staggers, but makes the catch. Let's give the younger generation a look back at Keith Hernandez. On this first plane notice, who you're tossing it to, Keith, on this 3-1 putout?
Tom Terrific, Tom Seaver. I remember that play. I made a comment to him, boy, I got to actually make a 3-1 on your scorecard to Tom Seaver. I'm just thrilled. And he goes, well, you bet your whatever. So it's kind of a little funny. I always like to do that sort of thing. Tom was terrific.
Tom was terrific.
Yes, he was.
Literally. And with 1 out, nobody on, Paul O'Neill. It's the obvious question, but I've got to ask you. I mean, you played here those great years with the Mets. Seeing this place packed has got to bring back some great memories.
It does. I mean, actually, when I was in the stands yesterday, last night, with the full house and all the electricity here, it was the first time I actually wished I was back in uniform and could play again. But, you know, you can't do it.
First time. You've never missed it? Not once?
Well, I've missed it, but never just got chills and wanted to get in uniform and get out there and play again.
O'Neill with a count of 1-0, facing Bobby Jones here in the 6th inning. And tanking a straight. 1 ball, 1 strike. I've heard a lot of people say the last couple of days this place can be as desolate a ballpark as you'll find when there's nobody here or a few fans here. But when it's packed, there is a definite home field advantage here for the Mets.
Well, the New York fans, they just are electric.
O'Neill grounds to Baerga, 2 out, nobody on, and I think Paul's a little hot about grounding out to second.
Well, it's not a pitch he wanted to hit. He did it his first at bat too. He swung at the first pitch of the game on a curveball, and he just had a beautiful game last night. That the 4 at bats he had. Here's the bat swing. He got fooled there. I'm sure he didn't want to swing.
See O'Neill yelling at himself. Here's Strawberry. You know this guy.
I talked to him before the game. It's just so good to see him come back. But I'd rather see him in a Met uniform.
He keeps talking about how wild you guys were back in the 80s.
We weren't that wild. We were no wilder than any Cardinal team I played on or any other Met team that I played on. A lot of it gets blown up in New York.
Strawberry grounds out to Olerud, and a 1-2-3 inning for Bobby Jones. Keith Hernandez, great to see you.
Good to see you, Joe.
All right, that's Keith Hernandez. We'll be back for the bottom of the 6th inning. Yankees lead by 2. Here in Flushing, the Unisphere on your left, symbolic of the 1964 World's Fair. So where they play the U.S. Open tennis tournament, just beyond the wall. 1964, the first year, same year as the World's Fair. And if you look real closely out there, you can see the spot where the spaceship landed in Men in Black.
That fellow with the blue hair celebrating the running of the blue line from Grand Central Station to Shea Station back in '64.
It's not a requirement, but it helps. Bottom of the 6th inning, Olerud, Husky, and Baerga. Mets batting, and they trail the Yankees by 2. Andy Pettitte's been on a roll the last couple of innings. Olerud bunting. That'll tell you how big of a roll he's been on.
That is the first time that I have seen John Olerud try to bunt for a base hit this year. Seeing Scott Brocious back, Olerud almost squared around. That shows you how infrequent he bunts. He didn't know how to.
1 ball, 1 strike to the second baseman, Knobloch. And that's 5 in a row retired by Pettitte. We've talked about Darryl Strawberry. Here are his thoughts about that 1986 Mets team.
The '86 team was very wild.
outspoken team. We talked a lot about what we could do. We went out and done it on the field, but we also talked about it a lot in the papers, and we let other teams know. We made a lot of statements with other teams that we wasn't the team that was going to take any crap.
Husky takes a strike.
Often they didn't take that from each other. Had Keith Hernandez stayed around a little longer, I was ready to ask him and bring back the memories of that photography bashing that he and Strawberry got into back in the late 80s. Team photograph taken in Port St. Lucie. I think it was 88. And Darrell and Keith neither were in a good mood, and they resorted to fisticuffs before the photograph session.
1 out, nobody on, nothing, and 2 on Husky. That missed inside.
No team, when you think about it, fought more. There's Mookie Wilson, the most popular player in New York Met history. When you think about it, the Oakland Athletics in 72, 3, and 4 fought more than any team of recent memory.
Greg Jeffries will tell you it was one of the most intimidating situations ever to walk into as a rookie. He walked into that clubhouse as a rookie back in '88. Took the spot of one of the most popular players, Wally Backman, as Husky pops it up down the right field line for Martinez. 2 out. And not only getting it from the media, but getting it from his own team. Jeffries really struggled in those early years with the Mets. As you look at the New York Mets box score, we'll tell you at the end of today's game. Tim and I will select the Chevy Truck player of the game. Husky has the only run scored of the day. Gilkey has a hit and a walk. Bottom of the order, Ordonez and Jones each have a hit, but not much against Pettit. Brocious takes care of that ground ball off the bat of Baerga. Bad throw, and Carlos is on what should be the 3rd error of the afternoon for the Yankees. And it is.
You may remember earlier in the ball game, Tino Martinez saved Scott Brocious on an error by tagging Mike Piazza. Brocious with an error last night. That's his 12th error of the year. He leads the Yankees in that department. Easy play should have been completed, and that drove soaring over the head of Tino Martinez, and the Mets will try to do to the Yankees what the Yankees did to them as far as the error is concerned.
Take advantage of a mistake. Now McRae, who homered here last night, he's hit 9. Tying run at the plate, 2 out in the 6th. And a strike from Pettit. McRae has walked and flied to right. Great pickup by Posada to save a wild pitch.
Boy, I'll say it was. Nice play by Jorge Posada. He is very quick behind home plate. Outstanding throwing arm. Thrown out 39% of the runners, and as we mentioned earlier, these two guys, Pettit and Posada, can just squelch the running game.
As is usually the case with right-handed throwing switch hitters, Brian McRae's power comes from batting left-handed. He has hit 8 of his 9 home runs from the other side of the plate. Gets out in front and fouls it for strike 2. Pettit has struck out 7. And if you paid attention to the graphic earlier, you now know that he is over 100 pitches for the afternoon. A ball and 2 strikes on McRae. Out in front, Pettit rings up number 8 and gets around the error by Brocious. The Mets have left 6. Back for the 7th after this from your local Fox station. Assistant trainer taping the left foot of Andy Pettit as he rests here at the top of the 7th inning.
A lot of starting pitchers, the foot, you can see that's the ball of the left foot. A lot of starting pitchers will tape that because of the intensity and the torque coming off that rubber. Be the right foot of Bobby Jones. But that is common, putting that cushion on the ball of the foot off of which you push.
Martinez down the right field line. Husky misplayed it over his head, and Martinez digs for a double. That's the way we start the 7th. Huskies not look comfortable on a couple of fly balls out there, and on this one did not take the most direct route.
Yeah, this ball's got to be caught. It had a lot of hang time. Husky goes over and then back. Instead of going back on the ball in a direct line, he goes over and now goes back. Like he's limping on that bad knee, but that ball's got to be caught. Not a lot of support for Bobby Jones, who's pitching one of his better games of the year this afternoon.
Runner at second, nobody out for Posada. 0 for 2 this afternoon. Bunting couldn't have been better. Baerga, tough play, safe on a base hit.
Posada flying down that line. Beautiful bunt. Whenever you make the second baseman field it on a ball that you take with you, you've done the job. At the very worst, he sacrifices the runner. Very close play, but Posada with a bunt base hit.
You could hear with a microphone in the bag, the foot hit the bag before the ball got into the glove of Olerud. A base hit for Posada. Runners at the corners, nobody out for Curtis. Curtis 0 for 2. He's driven in 33.
Middle of the infield in double play depth on the corners. Alfonso and Olerud both up. Of course, Olerud holding the runner. So a ball in the middle of the infield. The Mets will elect to go for the double play.
One ball, no strikes. Down the left field line. Trouble if it's fair. Just foul.
Carlton Fisk revisited.
He almost blew this game wide open here in the 7th inning, and it didn't miss that pole by much. 1 ball, 1 strike. First and third, nobody out. Yankees already leading by 2. It's the 3rd time Jones has tried that this afternoon, something that rarely works.
It's wasted motion, particularly with nobody out. Posada's not going anywhere unless it becomes 3-2 to Curtis.
The 1-1. In at the knees, strike 2. The Yankee box score. We'll see Curtis is 0 for 2. Brocious 1 for 2. Pettit 0 for 1. At the bottom of this Yankee lineup. Martinez has had the big day. He's walked, hit a 3-run homer and doubled. He is at third with Posada at first, nobody out. That'll get a run home. Husky back to get it. Both runners tag. Both runners advance, and it's 4-1 Yankees in the 7th. Now for a Coors Light game break. Back to Chip Carey at the Fox Television Center.
Joe and Tim, the ball jumping out at the Jake. Moments ago, Manny Ramirez crushes that ball deep into the left field bleachers at the Jake to make it 4-1 in favor of the Tribe. But then Brad Ausmus off Eric Plunk ties the game with a 3-run homer himself. The Indians had the best bullpen in the American League. Today having problems. It's tied at 4 in the 7th. Dwight Gooden with no decision.
Gooden working so well on a day here at Shea Stadium. He's pitching well for Cleveland, while the team he played for, the New York Mets, is playing another team he played for, the New York Yankees. And with a runner at second, 1 out, here's Brocious.
Outstanding base running by Jorge Posada after the bunt that he barely beat at first base. Sac fly by Curtis, and Posada goes to second. A lot of guys wouldn't even tag up or bother to tag up on a ball like that.
Smiling with first base coach Jose Cardinal. Brocious is driven in, 49. Setting up outside. Ball came back, and that's strike 2. The Yankees got 3 in the 4th inning on a 3-run home run by Tino Martinez. 1 unearned run on the error committed by Olerud. They've added to their lead on a leadoff double by Tino Martinez. There he is, and a ball that got over the head of Husky. Moved to third, and a bunt single by Posada, scored on a sac fly by Curtis. That's been a struggle all season for the Mets, and the Yankees have been doing that all season. Still 0-2. Bobby Jones is pitching to stay out on the field. Mets have action in their bullpen. Jones trying to get the bottom 2 in the Yankee lineup. Send this game to the 7th inning stretch. Ordonez, nasty hop, throws to third, and that's why you don't take the risk. They didn't take the sure out, and now it's first and third, 1 out.
Well, he hesitated too. When in doubt, take the sure out, particularly with the pitcher coming up. There are going to be 2 outs with Andy Pettitte hitting. This is a foolish play by a great shortstop. A Gold Glover. That's not the right thinking right there. Even hesitation. Throws it right into the back of Jorge Posada. Now you can see a lot of things. You can see a squeeze. Don Zimmer loves that. You can see a safety squeeze.
Bob Apodaca, the pitching coach for the Mets, is out to talk to Jones, who has had his defense completely collapse around him.
And that doesn't usually happen to the Mets. They catch the ball. The fewest errors in the National League, as you saw Turk Wendell up and warming.
For Ordonez, error number 7.
When Zimmer talks, you gotta think squeeze. And now Joe Torre wants to talk to Willie Randolph. Pretty good speed on at third base. If he bunts the ball down the third baseline, the Yankees are a very adept base running team. You may see Posada following Alfonso up and then bunt the ball to third. When Alfonso throws to first, then you go home.
Pettitte's already dropped down 1 bunt for a sacrifice. A judgment error more than a throwing error on the part of Ray Ordonez sets up first and third, 1 out. And time called before the first pitch.
Bobby Jones trying to get Andy Pettit to commit. Joe bunt early. That gives the infielders an extra step or two trying to charge. I would think he'd be bunting right here.
Yeah, really, either way. I mean, at worst, you get Brocious down to second.
Yep.
Taking a strike. Pettit 0 for 3 in interleague play this season. 0 for 1 this afternoon. For the 4th time, the step to third look to first move. Nobody moved early. Nothing in 1, the count on Pettit. That's 3 attempts by Bobby Jones to see if Pettit or either of the 2 runners would tip their hand early.
And he hasn't shown the bunt yet.
Pettit takes strike 2. I am as surprised as you are that they haven't at least laid one down with an effort to get Brocious down to second.
Yeah, if it's a National League pitcher that's used to hitting, you can understand Joe Torre allowing Pettit to hit. I don't understand it here, however.
2 gone as Jones gets his first strikeout of the afternoon. So Bobby Jones just came right after him, and they let Pettit swing away. It did not work. Now Knobloch gets a chance.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night to Andy Pettit.
So Pettit is gone, and now it takes a hit from Knobloch. He's 0 for 3 this afternoon. He drove in 2 here last night, and he's knocked in 29 on the season. One of the better RBI leadoff men in baseball. Already talked about Biggio with Houston earlier, and Lofton's off to a great start RBI-wise with the Indians. Runners at the corners, 2 out. Bobby Jones, who has pitched so well here this afternoon, trying to keep the Mets in the ballgame. Ball 1. So now Jones is up to 100. Pettit is over 100 in that dugout. One ball, 1 strike. Jones couldn't get around the leadoff double on a ball misplayed by Husky and right that got over his head. The bunt base hit by Posada really figures in heavily here in the 7th inning. One ball, 1 strike on Knobloch. Brocious running and no throw. So Brocious with a stolen base accomplishes what the Yankees could have tried to do with Pettit at the plate with a bunt, and it's 2nd and 3rd, 2 out.
Mike Piazza a little timid here. Now Bobby Valentine may have told Piazza not to throw, but by not throwing, if Knobloch gets a hit, could put this game out of reach. Then it's a 6-1 ball game if it's a hit to the outfield.
2nd and 3rd, 2 down, and a 2-ball, 1 strike count on Knobloch.
I don't think in that situation when you're trailing like that you can give Scott Brocious second base without a play.
Not close, and Piazza saves a run as he throws his body in front of ball 3. Posada at third, Brocious at second. Posada's on the bunt hit. Brocious is on the error by Ordonez. The throwing error trying to get Posada going to third. And the error in judgment by not taking the sure out at first with a pitcher coming up next. Would have given the Mets the second out of the inning. Pulsifer and Wendell getting loose for the Mets in their bullpen. 3 balls and a strike. That'll load him up with 2 down for Jeter.
Keep this in mind also. Jorge Posada going to second base on that fly ball to right field. If he doesn't go to second base, the ground ball to Ordonez is a double play. Instead, Ordonez hits Posada in the back, and now the Yankees have the bases loaded and a chance to try to put the Mets away as we look at the straight chart on Derek Jeter.
More hits to right than pulled to left. And the outfield defense has him played accordingly. Bases loaded, 2 out. Jeter is hitting .311 with 38 RBIs. Strike 1 from Jones. If the Mets want to hang in this game here in the 7th, Jones has got to get Jeter. Piazza wants to talk to his 28-year-old right-hander. And there's still a getting to know you period for Piazza with this Mets pitching staff.
That is the toughest position to be traded in mid-season. All of a sudden you have been trying to catch one staff. Now you're traded to a team you have to adjust to 11 or 12 different guys. Very difficult. You're right, though, Joe. This at bat determines whether some people leave or all stay.
Yankees lead by 3. They've scored 1 here in the 7th and have a chance to bust it open. Jones has been tough all afternoon. Nearly hit by the pitch. I don't know how Jeter got out of the way. That obviously would have forced home a run.
What athletic ability to get out of the way of this ball. Wow.
Great numbers for Jeter with the bases loaded. Now Jones falls behind 2-1.
Just a little high on the plate, but high.
Into center field, falling in a hurry and down for a base hit. Posada scores, Brocious scores, and it's a 6-1 Yankee lead. And that'll be all for Bobby Jones.
Double switch. Bob Apodaca, the pitching coach, makes the pitching changes. Derek Jeter didn't hit it hard, but he hit it in the right spot to finish Bobby Jones, who really deserved a better fate today.
You can trace this trouble here in the 7th inning really back to 2 mistakes. And it's capped on this flare off the end of the bat of Derek Jeter into center to score 2. First hit of the day for Jeter. First pitching change of the afternoon. Pulsifer enters here in the 7th. We're in the top of the 7th inning. The Yankees lead it by 5. Tonight, if you're going to run from the cops, you better have a good excuse. It's a brand new Cops. Then a murder victim leaves one clue, a strange license plate. Now police need your help to catch this killer on America's Most Wanted. America Fights Back. It all starts at 8 Eastern, 7 Central tonight on Fox. Paul O'Neill rips a base hit into right field. In to score is now blocked. Headed to third is Jeter, and it's now 7-1 Yankees. Well, O'Neill didn't wait around long to hammer at the first pitch from Bill Pulsifer.
Forget the ball that was misplayed by Butch Husky. The throw by Ray Ordonez, that's the key in this inning. Otherwise, the Yankees have only 1 run instead of 4 runs in this inning.
Strawberry takes a strike. Darrell, a key hit in the 4th inning. It preceded the 3-run home run by Tino Martinez. Louis Lopez is taken over at second base in the double switch. Baerga's gone. 1 ball, 1 strike on Strawberry. Bobby Jones, as you said, deserved a better fate. A lot of missed opportunities on the other side for the Mets as well as making mistakes. Strawberry, strike 2. Able to last 6 2/3 innings. Two and 2 from Pulsifer. No player has hit more career home runs here at Shea Stadium than this man. Darrell Strawberry has hit 127 of them. Third base side, and it will get out of play. Strawberry well out in front in this race. All-time home run leaders at Shea Stadium. Over Hojo, Kingman, Cranepool, and Kevin McReynolds.
Howard Johnson now a scout in the Mets chain. Dave Kingman lives in Lake Tahoe. Ed Cranepool still lives in the area.
Strawberry strikes out. Pulsifer gives up an inherited runner. And the Yankees come up with a 4-run 7th inning. It's time to stretch. Jones is finished. Yankees lead by 6. Bottom of the 7th inning with the Yankees out in front now 7-1. 7 runs on 7 hits, a total of 5 errors today. In case you missed week 1 of In the Zones away from the plate, you could have seen that Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez are more than just competitors on the field. They're best friends off the field. So grab your best pal on every Saturday and watch the show all of baseball is talking about, In the Zone. In the Zone! So Derek Jeter delivered a key blow for the Yankees in the top of this 7th inning. Only 3 of the 7 runs charged to Bobby Jones are earned. Ordonez takes a ball from Pettit. So we came in talking about Bobby Jones, who hadn't allowed an unearned run all season. The defense had been so good behind him. 4 unearned runs scoring today for the Yankees against the Mets.
Everybody loses their share of games, but rarely do you see the Mets defense beat them. And it's so far, with them being behind by 6 runs, one of the big reasons their defense has let them down today.
It'll be Ordonez, Lopez, and Alfonso for Bobby Valentine's crew here in the 7th inning. Here's the 3-0. Ordonez will take, and it's a strike. Ricky Leday is taken over in left field as Darrell Strawberry. We'll wait for tomorrow night. He's finished for the rest of the afternoon. A leadoff walk from Pettit. That's the 3rd walk handed to the Mets today. And not what Pettit had in mind after his teammates Gave him a 6-run 7th inning lead.
First walk since the first inning for Pettit. A lot of times when a pitcher, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You're glad your team's scoring a lot of runs. That means you're waiting a long time in the dugout. You can't get back out there and keep that rhythm going.
Luis Lopez now batting for the first time today out of the number 9 spot. Jones was 1 for 2 while he was in there. Ball 1. And another visit from Mel Stottlemyre with action for the Yankees out in their bullpen.
Looks like Mike Stanton is the left-hander.
Mike Buddy was recently called up.
Yeah.
And he's the right-hander. Backside of the Yankee bullpen. So Mike Buddy and Mike Stanton getting ready as Pettit has issued a leadoff walk here in the 7th inning, and now ball 1 to Lopez. One ball, 1 strike. The Yankees came from behind to win here last night 8-4 with O'Neill delivering in the 7th, putting him out in front and good for good with a 3-run home run. And the Yankees have battled back this afternoon, trailing 1-0 into the top of the 4th inning. An error figured in, a 3-run home run by Tino Martinez. And an error figuring in the top of this 7th inning, and a 4-run frame for the Yankees. Martinez was part of that as well.
Luis Lopez watching Andy Pettit pitch for 6 innings and coming in his first at bat. He's saying, boy, he's throwing a cutter inside the right-hander. Comes out there and Pettit threads a needle on the outside corner 2 times. Back out there again.
On 1 and 2. Lopez is gone. Trickles away from Posada, but not far enough for Ordonez to advance. And that's strikeout number 9 for Andy Pettit.
Luis Lopez taking the first pitch, which was a ball. That was trying to come inside. Then the strike on the outside corner. Another fastball outside corner. Now that wicked slider in the dirt finishes him off.
1 on, 1 out for Alfonso, the leadoff hitter for the Mets, 0 for 3. One ball, 1 strike. Just day after day, there's no weakness for these Yankees in a starting rotation. And these days in Major League Baseball, you see teams, even the good ones, struggling to find 4 and 5 starters. Talking about number 4 and number 5 starters. 2-1 on Alfonso. Del Duque. Orlando Hernandez.
He's against Masato Yoshi tomorrow night. Yeah, you leave spring training, you say as long as we stay healthy. They haven't stayed healthy this year either.
3-1 on Alfonso.
The Yankees have had their share of injuries. Not only that, but you've got David Cone trying to rehabilitate that right arm, operated on over the wintertime. Derek Jeter, Tino Martinez, Bernie Williams is out now. Chili Davis, their designated hitter, has had 6 at-bats. Jeff Nelson was put on the disabled list yesterday. So they not only don't make excuses, you wouldn't expect that anyway, for the injuries, but they go out and produce in spite of them.
Alfonso waits for a 3-2 from Pettit. And we'll do it again. All right, whose rookie card is El Duque holding down there in the dugout? Looked like a pitcher. The glimpse I saw, it looked like a pitcher.
Fancy package in the laminated holder.
1 on, 1 out for Alfonso. Mets trying to make some noise here in the 7th inning. Now the runner goes. It's ball 4 inside, and it's 2 on, 1 out. 2 walks in the inning. And that's going to be all for Andy Pettit.
Joe Torre complaining about the call, and it is Orlando Hernandez.
Somebody printed that up in a hurry.
Probably put it in his pocket tomorrow night.
Joe Torre out to make the pitching change. 2 walks have ended the day for Andy Pettit. He's walked 4 in the afternoon, struck out 9, and leaves with his team leading 7-1 in the 7th inning.
Joe Torre upset. He was upset with home plate umpire Charlie Williams for, in his opinion, missing this call. Close pitch. It was so close that Jorge Posada threw to second base. And it was ball 4 to Edgardo Alfonso. So they didn't get the call. They have to make a move, and it's Mike Buddy. And there's that one look is worth 1,000
arguments.
Words.
2 on, 1 out for Bernard Gilkey as the Mets try to climb back into it. 7-1 the Yankees lead. And Mike Buddy takes over. Through the left side off the bat of Gilkey. Here comes Ordonez, and it's a 5-run Yankee lead.
It looked like a flat slider from Mike Buddy. And Gilkey comes through, drilling one by the outstretched glove of Scott Brocious as Ordonez scores, and the Mets trying to peck away. One blast here, they're right back in it.
And they have the right guy coming up as you look at that hanging pitch from Buddy, who was recalled for the 3rd time from AAA here yesterday when they put Nelson on the disabled list. Likely the last hitter for Buddy to face here this afternoon. It's Piazza with Olerud next. That's driven into right center field. O'Neill back to get it. And the runners will stay at first and second. And a big out picked up by Buddy, albeit allowed out. And with Olerud coming up, Joe Torre back to the mound. That's Piazza's stroke into right center field, and he unloaded.
He is like a strong left-handed batter. He hits it as far to right as he does to left. Unfortunately, this stays in the ballpark. The reason Mike is grimacing, he does have a sore toe on his left foot.
So Piazza ticked. Mike Stanton in. 2 on, 2 out. 7-2 Yankees in the 7th. Mike Stanton off a rough outing in Atlanta. His last time out allowed 2 walks and a 3-run home run to Javi Lopez. And fresh off a day in court in the league president's office yesterday, appealing that 5-game suspension that he was hit with after hitting Eric Davis of the Baltimore Orioles. Takes over.
Speculation in New York papers this morning said that now this is not official, but speculation that the 5-game suspension will be shaved to 3 games. Ruling next week.
2 on, 2 out, and Olerud lines it right at Knobloch. And the Mets get 1. They have now stranded 8. Tino Martinez has been busy today. We'll see him in the 8th. Turk Wendell is the 3rd pitcher of the afternoon for the Mets. Bobby Jones started. He's on the hook for the loss. Pulsipher gave up 1 inherited runner last inning, then struck out Strawberry. And now it's Wendell, who's 3-0 with a big ERA.
Coming to the Mets last July 31st, along with Brian McRae, and Mel Rojas.
Tino Martinez has been on base 3 times today, and he looks at one high from Wendell. We take you back to the 4th inning. And with that swing, the Yankees went from 1 down to 2 up. A 3-run shot. Tino's 11th of the year. He started that 4-run rally in the 7th inning with a double and a ball that got over the head of Husky and right. And he walked way back in the 2nd. The 2-0. Lopez takes care of it. 1 away.
Catcher Jorge Posada.
1 out, nobody on for Posada. The Yankee catcher. We'll give you a look at this at bat by Posada through the eyes of Mike Piazza, wearing catcher cam this afternoon. And again, thanks to Mike for agreeing to wear it. 1 out, nobody on. Blowing away for ball 1.
Catcher cam to catcher at bat.
I know we've talked about it before, Tim, but when that was introduced on Fox during the All-Star game last year, as Posada gulps one down the left field line, trouble if it's fair, it's into the corner and high off the wall. Posada digs for a double. He's in there with 1 out. And Posada's on base for the 2nd time this afternoon. I know it shocked you a little at just how good of an idea it gives people at home who've never sat back there what it looks like to catch a major league pitcher.
Certainly gave me a better idea. I'd forgotten. That an idea is Jorge Posada continues his hot hitting. 3 for 4 last night. On base 4 times and 2 for 4 here, and here it is again from catcher cam. Mike Piazza looking down the left field line. That ball missing about 2 feet from going out of the ballpark.
Runner at 2nd, 1 out for Chad Curtis. And a strike from Wendell. Curtis has driven in a run. He did that with a sacrifice fly last inning, giving him 34 RBIs on the year. And again, he's filled in well for the injured Bernie Williams, as he did a year ago. And by the way, the Yankees are now playing their 15th game without Bernie Williams, and Joe Torre's crew 8-6 with a chance to go 9-6 without him with a win here today. Breaking ball for a strike.
We had a chance to do a lot of Yankee games last year, Joe, and we saw Jorge Posada, and we didn't see enough of him because of Joe Girardi's catching most of the games last year. You don't get a feel for a guy, but this young man is being groomed into some ball player. I don't know if he'll be a superstar, but it looks to me that like this year he has matured so much.
Curtis strikes out for the 2nd out of the inning.
And if not superstar, that term is bandied about a little bit too much, but I think that young man's going to be a fine player when he matures a bit.
Switch hitting catcher.
Yeah, and this year he is, it seems to me, he's taken a quantum leap from last year. Much more confident. He's playing more. Joe Girardi not playing as much. And Joe Girardi has been an absolute jewel for Joe Torre and his group in trying to help hone Posada's skills.
Don Zimmer very instrumental in bringing Girardi to the Yankees as he replaced Mike Stanley 2 years ago. But it's a perfect combination. Don Zimmer thinks the world of Joe Girardi, as do the rest of the Yankees, with what he can do behind the plate. Posada can do it behind the plate with the arm and at the plate with a bat in his hand. 1 ball, no strikes on Brocious. Two 2-0 now on Brocious. But even though the Yankees have a chance here today to go 9-6 in the 15 games that Bernie Williams has missed. How about that? Ball 4 on And ball 3 on the intentional pass is being handed to Brocious. Almost got away from Piazza. I was going to say this is a better team. Make no mistake. This is a much better team. The Yankees with Williams, one of the best players in baseball, in their lineup.
Bobby Valentine decides to walk Brocious. This from catcher cam. Fair catch. No contact.
In and out of the glove, and it stayed right at home plate. And Piazza stayed with it. So the intentional walk puts 2 on with 2 out, and it brings Stanton to the plate. Lopez takes care of the ground ball, and the Yankees now have left 5. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Husky will lead it off for the Mets. They trail the Yankees by 5. Welcome back to New York. And Tim, we take a look at these starting staff comparisons, and the 2 New York teams are in the top 4 with a great ERA.
Everybody knows about the Atlanta Braves. The surprising team, even though not surprising to a lot of baseball people, is the San Diego Padres. They're not only not a dark horse, I mean, they are a very, very good ball club. Could the Padres end up in the World Series? You bet they could. They're that good.
And what a perfect time to talk about something you and I talked about before the game. He gets no recognition throughout baseball, but Bruce Bochy is one of the game's best managers.
Absolutely. And has proven it. They won the division 2 years ago. You folks may remember when the Padres went into Los Angeles. The Dodgers had to win 1 game. They would win the division, but the Padres swept them. And the Dodgers became the wild card team.
Stanton back to work. It's Husky at the plate with Pratt on deck to pinch hit. And then McCray. Fastball poured in from Stanton. John Hudek, it looks like, will work the top of the 9th inning. Barring a big rally from the Mets. That's off the end of the bat into left center field for Leday. To his left, 1 away. And Husky is 1 out of 4. There's David Wells. Boy, did he throw a good one the other night for the Yankees against Atlanta.
Thrown a bunch of them this year. He's glad he didn't have to pitch to that look-alike. Guy wandering around here with the Babe Ruth uniform on. Does look a little like the Babe.
He does. You know how long that guy's been waiting for interleague play?
A long time.
1 out, nobody on. Todd Pratt pinch hitting. Strike 1. You know,
he started waiting when that uniform was brand new.
That's right. And this, by the way, coming up in August, will be the 50th anniversary of the passing of Babe Ruth. And no better person to... It's already out in game 2. Pratt takes a ball. But you mentioned the love that David Wells has for the history of the game, and in particular the Yankees and Ruth. What did he pay for that Ruth cap?
$35,000 for the cap that he wore in one of our games last year to start the game. Then Joe Torre got wind of it and he said, take it off. And he did. Of course, if you pay $35,000 for a cap, you don't want to sweat in it, do you?
I wouldn't think so.
No.
Ball and 2 strikes on Pratt. 1 out, nobody on, and that's right at home plate for Posada. 2 away.
Center fielder
Pratt is gone, and the batter will be McCray. How about that? Tim, you got anything on that? Nope. McCray comes up empty, strike 1.
I do have something here, though. 53,587 in attendance today. Only the second time The Mets have had 2 crowds of 50,000 in the same series since 1970, when they drew over 50,000 for Willie Mays and the Giants. Willie McCovey et al. And tomorrow will make 3.
1 ball, 1 strike, McRae. That barely missed. 2-1 from Stanton. The Yankees will host Baltimore next Saturday. We'll have that game here on Fox. In what many predicted coming into the season, that's going to be one of those showdowns where the Yankees and Orioles will get into it. Well, the Yankees coming into today's game had a commanding lead over the Baltimore Orioles. McRae takes up and in and draws a 2-out ball.
And as we mentioned earlier, the surprise team, if you can call them a surprise, and I think you can, particularly in light of the Orioles' plight, that's the Boston Red Sox. We talked about them earlier. The Mets have to keep in mind that even if they lose today, however, coming into today, they're still in the wild card hunt. They're only a game behind the San Francisco Giants.
While the Yankees have a 20.5 game lead over Baltimore, 10 over Boston. The Mets are 6.5 behind Atlanta, and they've struggled lately. Only 4 out on the lost side as you look at the wild card race. How about the Phillies jumping in there?
Shutout from Tyler Green last night.
And that's where it starts with Philadelphia. Yeah, Bronya's been hot. But you get the pitching with Green. Portugal's pitched better lately. And, of course, Schilling is a given every time he runs out there.
Scott Rowland could be an MVP someday.
They just called up Carlton Lower. It looks like he's going to be as advertised. Strike 2 on Ordonez. Terry Francona has done a marvelous job leading that Philadelphia club.
Absolutely. Michael Jordan was right. Michael Jordan played for Terry Francona. Double-A ball, trying to hit the curveball down in Birmingham. One of the guys who called the general manager at the time, Lee Thomas, and gave a ringing endorsement of Terry Francona. Has he ever proven to be the right guy?
1 on, 2 out here. Ordonez trying to get something going. Lopez on deck. It's a 7-2 Yankee lead in the 8th. Little flare for Knobloch, and that'll end the 8th inning. We head to the 9th. Game 2 of this pregame set, the Subway Series. Yankees trying to take the first 2. They lead it 7-2. 8th inning here at Shea Stadium. The Yankees lead it 7-2, and John Hudek is the 4th pitcher of the day for the New York Mets. Former Tiger and Houston Astro closer. Now with the Mets, and he deals strike 1 to Chuck Knobloch. Bobby Jones started, pitched into the 7th inning. Allowed only 3 earned runs, 4 unearned runs. Pulsifer, Wendell, and now Hudek. 2-1. Jeter and O'Neill will follow as Knobloch pops it up. Ordonez wants it. That's automatic. 1 away. Give you a look at our Red Lobster catches of the day. Talk about the shortstops. Ordonez to his left, on the other side of the bag to make the play to Rob O'Neill, and then Ordonez hit that ball that Jeter took away to his left. Now, we didn't say they had to be Red Lobster outs of the day because neither one of those plays led to an out. Ordonez made the play. Olrud dropped it at first on a chest-high throw, and then Jeter couldn't complete it as he tried to rob Ordonez.
I think that's the biggest play in this ball game, the drop throw by John Olrud, opening up the 3-run home run by Tino Martinez.
Good pitch over the inside corner to Jeter. It's 0-2.
And then with one out, Ray Ordonez trying to nail Jorge Posada at third base. The ball hit him in the back, and that led to 3 runs.
Jeter has only 1 hit today, but it was a big one with 2 out and the bases loaded in the 7th. He knocked out Bobby Jones with a flare off the end of the bat into center to score 2. Giving the shortstop 40 RBI. Still 1-2.
That ball sounded funny coming off the bat of Derek Jeter. That was odd. Between the trademark and the hand. Not a lot of wood, and now from catcher cam. Some of those bats, especially the darker bats, are broken before you use them. You try to inspect them for hairline fractures. You ought to have an MRI for those things in the dugout.
2 balls, 2 strikes. They had an MRI years back in St. Louis for a Howard Johnson bat.
That's true. After he uncorked one against Todd Worrell.
That's right. 2-2 pitch. Rain starts to fall here at Shea Stadium.
Matter of fact, that was the biggest hit for the Mets in 1986. I think it came down in St. Genevieve, Missouri, or thereabouts.
Howard Johnson always had success against Worrell. One of the few guys early in Worrell's career that just owned it. 3-2 on Jeter. We showed you the start of the play by Ordonez. Let's track it all the way through. In the 4th inning, and there's the drop by Olruth. Two out. First strikeout for Hudak, and the bases are empty with O'Neill walking in. O'Neill's been on base twice. It was O'Neill who hit that ball. I showed you the result as Olruth dropped it and then scored after a hit by Strawberry, a 3-run home run by Tino Martinez in the 4th. And he drove in a run against a left-handed pitcher, Pulsifer, in the 7th. Strike 1 from Hudak. The Mets in the 9th will have Lopez, Alfonso, and Gilkey. One and 1. Designer seat cushions now being used as designer umbrellas. Two and 1. Now, are those known as Brock umbrellas throughout the country?
I think Lou Brock was very instrumental in marketing those, not the front ones. Those are more your standard.
Those.
That gentleman putting that down so we can concentrate on that.
2-2 on O'Neill. O'Neill trying to keep the top of the 9th inning going. Ricky Ledee would be next. Here's the rookie. Talked about quite a bit, one trade rumor after another, but he's persevered to this point and stayed in the Yankee organization. The 2-2 to O'Neill. Outside corner struck him out. Back-to-back strikeouts. O'Neill doesn't agree. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. 9-1-2 in the order coming up for the Mets, who trail back to work. They'll work the bottom of the 9th inning. Yankees lead 7-2. We'll remind you the senior coordinating producer of Major League Baseball on Fox And the producer of today's game is John Filippelli. Today's game directed by Bill Webb. The senior producer of the studio show is Scott Ackerson. And it is produced by Gary Lang and directed by Bob Levy. Senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown. And the executive producers of Fox Sports are David Hill and Ed Gorin. And as always, special thanks to Lance Garrett down in the truck and Steve Horn here in the booth. Derek Manning and crew doing their usual wonderful job as we are into the bottom of the 9th inning. Also thanks to Mitch Riggin and the entire Fox crew. Bill Webb says what camera to put on the air, and Mitch punches it up for you. We hope you have enjoyed today's telecast. Mets want to make the Mets fans enjoy it even more. Down by 5 in the bottom of the 9th inning with Lopez, Alfonso, and Gilkey coming up. Louis Lopez 0 for 1 since entering back in the 7th. A strike from Stanton. Stanton relieved in the 7th inning, got the final out as he got Olerud on a line drive. Got around a 2-out walk in the 8th. It's 0-2 on Lopez. Stanton got him over the inside corner, 1 away. First strikeout for Mike since entering in the 7th.
Third baseman Edgardo Alfonso.
Fastball on the inside. Mid hitters have seen Andy Pettit do that the whole game, and now Stanton's doing it.
Alfonso takes a strike. Into left field. That's catchable. Leday to his left. 2 out. And the Mets down to their final out here this afternoon before waiting until tomorrow night to avoid a sweep by Joe Torre's Yankees. Bobby Valentine and the Mets losers here last night 8-4. They trail 7-2 today. And Bernard Gilkey, one of the few hitting stars for the Mets, is at the plate. 2 hits and a walk for Gilkey today. And the only RBI for the Mets.
Mets will try to bounce back tomorrow evening, and the one thing they have been able to do all year long is to be resilient. They'll try the right-handed arm of Masato Yoshi tomorrow night.
And the Yankee fans take over here at Shea. Two and 1 on Gilkey. What a week it's been for the Yankees. Starting in Cleveland, a home and home with the Braves, and now across town at Shea. Split with the Indians, took 3 out of 4 from Atlanta, trying to take the first 2 from the Mets. 2-2 as Stanton drills the outside corner. Full count with Piazza on deck.
How often do you see fans of a road team standing for the last strikeout of a game?
Yankees win it 7-2. Andy Pettit takes care of the Mets and Bobby Jones. And our Chevy Truck player of the game, Tino Martinez, who walked, homered, doubled, scored twice, He did a lot at the plate for the Yankees. For Tim McCarver, I'm Joe Buck. So long from Shea Stadium. The final score, it's a win for the Yankees, 7-2 right now. Chip Carey in the Fox Television Center.
Okay, Joe and Tim, thank you very much. What a ball game. The Yankees have won 4 of 5 now from the Mets by virtue of their 7-2 win today. Tino Martinez, a monster game for the Bronx Bombers. They've taken the first 2 games of this 3-game series, a sloppy game, 5 errors combined. But the Yankees beat the Mets by 5. They go to the bottom of the 10th inning. Houston and the Indians tied at 5. David Justice, Jeff Bagwell, Brad Ausmus have all homered in that ball game at Jacobs Field in Cleveland. Texas is in San Francisco. Texas has just taken the lead in the bottom of the 2nd inning. A Bill Hasselman homer tied the game at 2. Texas 3, Giants 2. Burkett against Reeder in that ball game. Anaheim and San Diego. The Padres have a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Greg Vaughn might be the comeback player of the year along with Pete Harnisch in the National League. He's hit his 26th home run of the season. Our games next week here on Fox Saturday Baseball's Game of the Week. More great matchups for you as Baltimore battles the Yankees, or you'll see the Cardinals and Reds, the White Sox, and Boston. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. For Steve Lyons, this is Chip Carey. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week for more Fox Saturday Baseball's Game of the Week.